All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to Press X Podcast, or PXP for short. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And thank you, as always, for waiting patiently for the intro to finish up there to let more people file in before we begin here. I hope everybody is doing well today. The 16th anniversary of Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots, still a PlayStation 3 exclusive. Can't play it on PS4 as far as I'm aware. Can't play it on PS5. Can't really play it anywhere. I think you can emulate it on PC, I think. But yeah, 16th anniversary. Crazy to think it's been 16 years. Wait, is this true? You're saying Astro previews are out? Hold on now. Really? So soon? Oh, you're right. Okay, that's quite surprising. I didn't see that coming. The game comes out in September. I would have thought that we would get previews much closer to the launch, not so suddenly. I wonder if there's going to be multiple preview cycles. I feel like that's somewhat uncommon, at least for Sony. So, well, I don't know that I'm going to get to them today. However, this could make for a great topic for tomorrow, because today I'm actually going to be talking about Phantom Blade Zero. But yeah, I had no idea that we were going to get previews for and Lego Horizon. Whoa, okay. Yeah, I didn't see this one coming. I guess it makes sense. Considering like it's that time of the year, the shows are happening. Does it does it show confidence? Yeah, I think it might. Yeah, I'm very much used to Sony doing their previews very close to the launch of their games. And again, they'll probably do another cycle, but yeah, I mean, it is that time of the year where these shows are happening, and it's very common practice, extremely common practice, pretty much expected that after these shows, the press and the media will be able to go hands-on with a lot of these games. So yeah, I guess I just didn't think that Sony would be part of that, since, they had their state of play at the end of May. But yeah, man, I think Astrobot, look, I didn't read any of the previews. I didn't see what any of the previews are saying. But to me, Astrobot seems like it could very well be a potential Game of the Year contender. I firmly believe that. It just looks like it's going to be a super, very high quality platformer. But yeah, let me tell you guys what we're going to be going over and discussing, the topics we have for today's episode of Press X Podcast. Again, I didn't know these previews were coming out today, so we'll actually cover those previews in depth tomorrow. It'll be pretty interesting. I'll be very curious to see what people are saying who went hands-on with Astrobot as well as Lego Horizon. But we're going to be talking about the PlayStation Plus lineup that was just announced, the catalog for June, at least for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. We're going to be talking about Phantom Blade Zero. We have a couple of different things we're going to be discussing with Phantom Blade Zero. Number one, we're going to be discussing the exclusivity with this game, because apparently there is some confusion here. The development team is confirming that there is no exclusivity deal between them and Sony, which leads us to a different conversation, but one I would say equally as interesting. But we also have previews for Phantom Blade Zero, and I figured I could at least read one of these previews, because it seems like the people who are going hands-on with this, the demo that they have out right now is just for media and for press. People who are going hands-on with it they have some pretty positive things to say about it. Yeah, it's sounding really, really good, and I'm actually really happy to hear that, because regardless of the exclusivity for Phantom Blade Zero, it just looks insane, like based off of what I've seen. Another topic we're going to discuss is a former PlayStation executive, Shawn Layden. I'm sure most of you know who Shawn Layden is. He actually seems to have responded somewhat subtly, but in another way, maybe not so subtly, to some recent comments made by um, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer. You know that Phil Spencer's obviously the head of Xbox, but yeah, Phil Spencer gave an extensive interview with IGN, and there were a lot of things that he said, and Shawn Layden really didn't hold back with what he thought about at least one particular thing that Phil Spencer said. So I figured we could go over that and cover it. We're also going to be talking about some updates to PlayStation Plus premium titles where apparently they're getting some significant trophy support out of nowhere. We have a Spider-Man 2 update that I'll go over with you guys. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Elden Ring because people are now just realizing, at least a certain portion of people are now just realizing that in order to actually access the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, you have to defeat one of the most difficult bosses in the game that I believe is an optional boss. Yeah, he's optional. I think that's why most people haven't defeated him. And it's pretty funny because it's definitely going to be tough, I think, for a lot of people to, yeah, they're going to have to get good, man. I'm going to have to get good. I did beat him already. IGN didn't beat him. Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty funny, dude. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty funny. Moog, yeah, I think his name is Moog. I remember when I fought him, he was really, really tough. I struggled a lot. He was quite challenging. You think he's easy? Man, I don't know. Maybe it's your build. I mean, I go for a pure strength build. Just pure strength. I don't do any magic, any faith, nothing like that. No sorcery. I'm just pure strength. So maybe I'm making myself, I'm limiting myself. And maybe that's what makes some of these boss fights so much harder for me. But I don't know. I think he's tough, man. I do. I didn't fight Melania yet. No. So that actually leads me into, well, that's a nice segue into letting everybody know that, guys, we are striving for a weekly goal for memberships this week, okay? We are striving for a total of 300 memberships by the end of tomorrow. So we have today and we have tomorrow. We are over halfway there. We need about 122 memberships to hit the goal. The reason why I want to hit this goal is because if we do, I'm going to do a big Elden Ring stream where I try to get good once again at Elden Ring. It'll be for members, obviously, and it'll be a kind of celebratory stream for you guys hitting that goal. So, we'll see if we can get there. Again, we're about 120 or so members away. We're more than halfway, so that's, I think, a very good thing, a very good sign. And as I say that, Corey the Legend comes in and drops a 20 bomb to start the day. Something tells me Corey wants to see me get my ass whooped in Elden Ring. Corey, thank you so much for that, buddy. You love to see it.
Holy shit.
You love to see it. But we know what it's really for, Corey. We know. We know what it's really for. It's in the name of boss. He's chilling. Relax, boss. We're still 5 away. We're still 5 away. If we hit 25, obviously we'll feed the beast. I think I'm going to try to give boss just a little bit less snacks at one time. I think I've been going overboard and giving him a little too many. But Corey, thank you so much for that, buddy. Getting us started off strong here, getting us all the way to the 20 mark right off the bat. And ever closer to hitting this goal. And Hellbound 1981 follows it up immediately. This is like the back-to-back that both Corey and Hellbound, they like tag team it every time, dude. Hellbound drops a 5 bomb, gets us to the 25 mark, and then Matt Fu comes in and drops a 10 bomb. And then Devlock 1985 drops another 5 bomb. Holy shit, indeed, you guys are going nuts right off the bat here. You want to hit this goal. You want to do it. I'm excited. I hope we can hit it, man. I haven't done a stream like this in a while, and I am excited about this Elden Ring DLC. I got to prepare. So thank you guys so much. Matt Fu, Devlock, Hellbound, Corey. Absolutely amazing. You just got us up to 40 members on the day already, which is incredible to see. We're not even 10 minutes into the stream. So already I'm going to have to update that goal Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Let's see if we can keep that going throughout the stream as we dive into these topics. Let me just update this for you. Yeah, appreciate the support. As you know, before we dive into the topics, just a reminder, we are completely fan funded here. Okay, I don't do sponsorships. I don't do anything like that. I rely on you guys as the sponsors to be able to do this podcast, to be able to do these streams, and to be able to continue to run the channel in this way. And it's an incredible thing. I feel, like it's a big privilege to be able to do this. You guys make it possible. I see you, Corey. We're going to feed the beast. Absolutely, we're going to feed the beast. So I just want to make sure you guys understand how grateful I am for the continued support. Also, just want to thank everybody for watching. If you're here live, thank you. If you can't catch it live and you're watching later on, just want to shout out you guys as well. I appreciate your viewership and your support. Do me a favor, hit that like button. We are almost at 100 likes, and we are going to dive into it. Irfan is teasing here. He's saying CNET is saying Astrobot is PlayStation's serious Mario competitor. You love to hear it. Irfan, remind me tomorrow if you can. Tomorrow we'll do a stream. We'll cover the previews more in depth, and I definitely want to cover what CNET's saying, because that's what people were thinking, right? They're saying, yo, this Astrobot game looks like it ain't playing around. Like, this is some serious competition that Sony might be bringing Nintendo's way, potentially. And, to hear that being said by people who are going hands-on directly with the game, that is fantastic. So I'm super excited. Astrobot, as of right now, like, listen, there are a lot of games I'm looking forward to playing for the remainder of this year, but I think Astrobot is easily, for this year, my most anticipated game. I'm super hyped for it. So tomorrow will be a good day to go over that. For now, though, we are going to first talk about the PlayStation Plus extra and premium lineup for the month of June. I'm not going to have too much to say about it, but for anybody who is a subscriber to PlayStation Plus extra and premium, I'm going to let you know which games you're going to be getting in the catalog this month. They're going to go live on June 18th. So we have, about a week or so before you're going to be able to access these games. To be clear, Metal Gear Solid Delta is my number one most anticipated game out of everything. I know how that may sound to some people, like, really, a remake is your most anticipated game? Absolutely, yes. Yes. A game like Metal Gear Solid 3, my all-time favorite game, one of my all-time favorite. I mean, it's like tied between MGS3 and MGS4 and even MGS2. I mean, they're all so good. And MGS1, all the mainline Metal Gear games, they're all number one to me. So, yes, absolutely, Metal Gear Solid Delta is my most anticipated game. I don't care if it's a remake. We just don't get games like that anymore, and I'm really happy to see it coming forward. But for this year, for 2024, because I don't think Metal Gear is coming out this year. For 2024, yeah, it's gonna have to be Astrobot. Yeah, I'm a freak like that. All right, wait, we got to feed the beast first, though. We got to feed
Boss,
the beast.
do you read me? It's time to feed the beast.
They got you covered nice and early, boss. They got you covered. I know you've been waiting. All right, there we go. Bon appetit. Enjoy. Yeah, if we do hit the 50 member mark before the end of the stream, I'll do some reps at the end of the stream as well for you guys. I'm trying to get back on the horse, MBG, I feel that with Silent Hill 2 Remake, regardless of the BS people are complaining about. Yeah, I agree. Like, I went back and I rewatched the gameplay demo of Silent Hill 2 Remake, and like, there are definitely some things about it that you could tell it's, certain aspects a little rough around the edges, but watching it a second time without a chat and just on my own and on my TV and kind of seeing it not as compressed because I'm not live streaming it, I will say, like, yeah, I'm still very much excited for Silent Hill 2 Remake, and I'm looking forward to playing it at the end of this year. So, yeah, I'm still on board with Silent Hill, absolutely. All right. We're going to start here with the PlayStation Plus lineup. This is coming from the PlayStation blog. They say, take down gigantic monsters, bring your smarts to the pitch, or the medieval world, explore surrealistic post-human worlds, and much more with June's PlayStation Plus games catalog lineup. Monster Hunter Rise, Football Manager 2024, Crusader Kings, 3 After Us and many more games will be available from June 18th. We are also announcing new classics and PSVR 2 game offerings coming to PlayStation Plus Premium. As a reminder, we announced a range of bonus PlayStation titles earlier this month as part of our Days of Play celebrations. These are already available, and obviously we did a whole stream dedicated to that. But here are the games. PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium Game Catalog, Monster Hunter Rise for PS5 and PS4. Good timing since the newest Monster Hunter was just revealed. Football Manager 2024 for PS5. Crusader Kings 3, PS5. Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game, 6. Interesting name there. PS4, PS5. After Us, PS5. Anno 1800, PS5. Police Simulator Patrol Officers, PS4, PS5. Far Cry 4, PS4. Lego The Hobbit, PS4. Lego The Incredibles, PS4. And then for PlayStation Premium, we're looking at both classics and PSVR 2. Kayak VR Mirage for PSVR 2. So obviously you do need a PS5 and VR2 to play that. And when it comes to the classics, we're looking at Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, Ghost Hunter, and Daxter. Not Jack and Daxter, just Daxter, which I guess is the spinoff that just stars Daxter. So that is the lineup for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium for June 2024. Again, going live June 18th. It seems like a pretty solid lineup overall. I mean, Monster Hunter Rise definitely seems like the standout, and maybe Football Manager 2024, but I don't know anything about Crusader Kings. This one game, After Us, just based off of the art that they're showing here, looks like it could be interesting. So yeah, if you are a PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium subscriber, what are you thinking? How's it looking? Are you excited for any of these games? Dan, you're saying Crusader Kings is amazing? Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to subscribe to PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium. I really, I don't know. I just don't play games that way. I don't know why. I just don't. It's never been appealing to me to have just so many different games that I can just play all of them. It just overwhelms me. And I always kind of feel like if there's one or two specific games that are featured in PlayStation Plus Extra, I always just kind of feel like I think I'd rather just buy them. Buy the physical copy, like if I'm interested in playing it. However, I will say I've been maybe tempted a couple times where there are games that I might be interested in, but I'm not sure. I don't know that I would want to subscribe just to test the game out, though. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm still a bit mixed on how I personally feel about PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium, but the classics, yeah, not necessarily enough to get me to go to Premium. Yeah, that's true. Maybe when little MBG gets older. You don't pay for Premium, you buy the PlayStation Classics. Okay. Yeah, I saw that it's worth noting that the PS2 Classics, the new ones, dropped today. Star Wars The Clone Wars, I think it's $5. Tomb Raider, I think it's like $10, and the Sly Cooper game, I think, is also $10. They're out now, but it seems like there might be. I don't know. I did see some people online complaining a little bit, at least with like Tomb Raider, that it was having some like frame rate issues. So I don't know. Maybe they'll have to work out the kinks or whatever. All right. Really quick, you're saying Clone Wars is 1440p. Up rendering only works for that game. Interesting. Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, so I guess when it comes to these new PlayStation 2 classics, it's going to just be on a kind of case-by-case basis where it's like some are going to perform better than others. I'm sure there's like a myriad of reasons maybe why they why some games are just going to be easier to port and kind of up-res and whatnot. But there you go. That's the first topic, the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium lineup for June 2024. We are now going to move on and talk about Phantom Blade Zero. So once again, guys, thank you for joining me. We have over 400 people here. Make sure you hit that like button. But let's talk about Phantom Blade Zero's exclusivity. I have a report here from PlayStation Lifestyle, and it says Phantom Blade Zero dev addresses PS5 exclusivity claim. Chinese developer S-Game has addressed claims that its action RPG Phantom Blade Zero is a PS5 console exclusive. Phantom Blade Zero wooed fans over when it was first shown at May 2023's PlayStation Showcase. The game was listed for release on the PS5 and PC. Nice jump, boss. Leading fans to believe that S-Game had some sort of an exclusivity arrangement with Sony. Not quite. Following a great showing at the Summer Game Fest 2024, S-Game published an FAQ on X, which clarifies that there is no exclusive deal at this time for Phantom Blade Zero. Releasing the game on PS5 and PC is simply a developer decision that was made for reasons that we don't know. And so I actually have this Q&A on Phantom Blade Zero. It was released by the official Twitter account for Phantom Blade Zero. And so I'm going to read all of the... boss, bro. Chill. I'm going to read all of the questions and answers. It's not that long, but it says here, release platforms. We've noticed that some press outlets are calling Phantom Blade Zero, quote, a PlayStation exclusive, end quote, which is not true. S-Game is an independent developer, and there is no exclusive deal at this time. In addition to PlayStation 5, we're planning to release it on PC as well. Now, I think that this is quite interesting because it seems to me that the development team just wants to make it clear that you don't just need a PS5 to buy and play this game, that they are releasing on PC. But obviously, when people hear that there is no exclusivity agreement between the developer of Phantom Blade Zero, and they come out and they say, yeah, that's not true, we don't have an exclusivity agreement, this leads people to wonder, oh, okay, well, then I guess it will come to Xbox. However, it's not. As of right now, it is not coming to Xbox. They have only announced the game for PlayStation 5 and PC. And so this is one of those cases where it just seems to me that the developer is actively choosing not to develop an Xbox version. However, what this also does tell us is that because there is no exclusivity deal in place, that an Xbox version could conceivably come at any time. They could maybe announce it later down the line, or it could come like 6 months later, or they could just say, we're going to start working on that now. Maybe it depends on how well the game sells on PS5 and PC. But this is something that I think is becoming a little bit more common here with some of these games, especially, these Chinese developed games. We just saw that with Black Myth Wukong, they had to announce, unfortunately for Xbox players, that the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S version of this game is delayed indefinitely. Well, at least, they haven't given a date. They said, we don't know when it's going to come. It reminds people of the Baldur's Gate 3 situation. Now, they did not specifically say it's because of the Series S version, but people are heavily speculating it is because of the Series S version. But regardless of whatever the reason is, there's something going on with the Xbox version of a game like Black Myth Wukong that is causing it to be delayed with an unknown release date. And I think that's a pretty significant blow to the Xbox consoles, because I can tell you right now, as somebody who is very excited for Black Myth Wukong, if I was playing on Xbox, like if that was where I played my games mainly, I would be pretty frustrated at that situation, because I'd be thinking like, man, this is like one of my most anticipated games. Everybody else is going to get it. There isn't even an exclusivity agreement. You can't even blame Sony for this one. It's just getting delayed and we don't know when it's coming. And some people are even taking it as far to speculate that it might end up getting canceled. So we just saw that, but now we're finding out with Phantom Blade Zero. Now, I thought that there was an exclusivity agreement for this game. And the reason why I thought this was because Phantom Blade Zero was revealed at the official PlayStation Showcase last year, and it was a standout game from the showcase last year. I think some people are not aware of just how much viewership the original Phantom Blade Zero trailer actually got on PlayStation's YouTube channel. It ended up getting like over 3.6 million views, which was one of the highest viewed trailers from that showcase last year. So I thought, okay, it shows up at a PlayStation showcase. It wows everybody. It looks amazing. It's not a first-party developer, obviously, but it seems clear that there's some kind of exclusivity arrangement here because it was only announced for PS5 and PC. Now we're finding out, no, there is no exclusivity agreement. They're just actively choosing to support the PS5 alongside the PC, and they are leaving out the Xbox version. So it is, as of right now, a PlayStation 5 console exclusive. But I understand why the development team probably felt the need to clarify that we don't have a deal. You know, like we're not obligated to just make a PS5 version. You know, we're not obligated to do anything like that. I think that's actually kind of worse in a way. You know, it's like when a game is not going to another console because of an exclusivity agreement, you can kind of just shrug it off and be like, okay, well, they money had it, right? You know, like Sony money had the game, and that's why it's not going to be on Xbox. I think it's even worse when you hear a developer come out and be like, no, we're just not making it for this console. And you can kind of understand why. You know, this is an independent team. They're clearly trying to do a lot with this game. At least it seems pretty ambitious to me, and it's getting a lot of positive feedback. You know, when you have limited resources, you have limited time, I think, yeah, you know, you don't have to worry about the Series S version potentially by just foregoing an Xbox version. I think that this is something that as we go further into this generation, it just seems like it's happening a little bit more now. And so I just wanted to clear up the situation when it comes to Phantom Blade Zero, because I have seen some people talking about it as if it was a PlayStation exclusive that Sony secured. And no, Sony featured it in their showcase, and obviously it was the closer for, for Summer Game Fest. But Sony, in a way, just kind of has this benefit where, you know, Sony is basically benefiting from some of Microsoft's mistakes that they've made, I think, with their, with the Series X and the Series S, where I think Microsoft has, unfortunately, for these people who have bought these consoles, I think Microsoft has made it a little bit too easy for some development teams to just say, yeah, we're just gonna not make a version. But who knows? Again, Phantom Blade Zero could come later on. But I just feel a little bit relieved, honestly. Again, Phantom Blade Zero is another game that, to me, looks actually pretty incredible. Looks awesome from what we've seen. And I can't wait to play it whenever it releases. Once again, dude, glad I went with PS5, because if I had went with the Xbox and I had to sit here and be like, yeah, we're just not releasing this game on your console, I'd be like, no way, bro. So yeah, that's just me personally, but we'll see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe in the coming months they will announce an Xbox version. You're saying, yeah, but you have to pay for it on PS5. I get it on Game Pass. Well, I don't think you're going to get Phantom Blade Zero on Game Pass, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think this is exactly why Microsoft has doubled and tripled down on Game Pass, even though the growth is stagnating. It's because it's like, that's pretty much the main draw for people now, So I think it makes sense. We have, let's see here, Josh coming in with the super chat, 2 super chats, and he says, FYI, the features in PSVR 2 need to be developed / baked into the games by the developers. It's not on Sony to put it in every PC VR game. It's on the developer to add. And then you say here, that's why you have seen VR2 games delayed to add features. Yeah, I do think that this is a positive and a negative in a way for PSVR 2, where it's definitely a positive to have those extra features. So for any developer that is taking time to utilize them, you are getting that advantage that, hey, like there are some, unique, if not just, nice features that this VR2 headset offers. And it's nice to see it being taken advantage of. But I think it also creates a potential issue where, because of how expensive PSVR 2 is and how it's not necessarily in that many people's hands, or on their heads, I should say, some developers might not think it's worth it to take the time out to fully take advantage of those features. But I do get what you're saying, Josh. There have been some people seemingly trying to kind of blame like Sony for, well, it's like a 50-50 thing where it's like, on one hand, people are disappointed that some of these features are not going to be available on PC if you get PSVR 2, even with the adapter. But it's also true what you're saying, where it's like, most of these games, like how many of these developers would go out of their way because they find out PSVR 2 is on PC now, like, oh yeah, we're going to take advantage of those features. I mean, maybe some of them would, but I'm still wondering like what Sony's long-term plan is with PSVR 2. Yeah, I don't think it's dead. I definitely don't think it's dead. But I do think that it's in a bit of an awkward position currently, where I think for people who really like PSVR 2, they still are generally happy, for, like, at least I would assume some of them are. I mean, I see people saying that they still are enjoying PSVR 2 and they're excited for a lot of the stuff that's coming to it. But I still do see some people basically saying that, like, well, I don't know. Either that or others saying I'm just not interested. So I'm curious to see where it goes. And we have Novinzer coming in. He's deciding to re-up his membership today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for that, buddy. Welcome back to Greatness Awaits. Novinzer just brought us up to 41 members on the day. Love to see it. Thank you so much for that, buddy. We have Perfect Image here saying, I hope no one is mad at me. Xbox reminds me of some of the problems with the PS3. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not nearly as bad, I would say. The PS3 was really problematic because developers were really having a hard time with that console. It seems to me that it's a combination of two things for Microsoft that's making the development on the Series X and the Series S a little bit more difficult. I think it's just the SDK, like just the development environment. From what we've heard from developers, it's just not as simple or streamlined as the PS5s. There's that, but there is also the Series S itself. I think the Series S creates, just simply put, it just creates more work, where it's like, okay, I don't just have to worry about bringing this game over and getting it fully functional on the Series X, but I have to make sure that it can scale down enough to be functional on the Series S. So I think that those two things combined, unfortunately, again, for Microsoft and for their consoles, have just made it a bit of a struggle for some. We've seen some developers do fine, right? Like, there are games that run great on these consoles, and I'm not trying to make it sound like, I know how people are on the internet. They try to make it sound like the Series S can't run anything. We know that's not true. The Series S can absolutely run games, and some games it can run very well, but it just, no matter which way you slice it, it's just because the Series S is much more limited, and there's so many different game engines, and all these games are doing different things. It's just naturally presented a problem where it's like, yeah, for some of these games, man, it's just not going to be as simple as, just scale it down. And when you combine that with low sales, it's not very, it's a pretty potent combination, I would say, to maybe dissuade some developers, for sure. Not all developers, certainly, but some. The big question I have is with Wukong Black Myth, or Black Myth Wukong, said that backwards. My big question for that game is, if the development team is having a hard time with the Series S, will they maybe contact Microsoft and kind of pull a Baldur's Gate 3 situation where it's like, we need to like change something with this game. So it's not going to be parity with the Series X version. And I wonder if, Microsoft let that happen with Baldur's Gate 3. I wonder if they'll let that happen again with a game like Black Myth Wukong. I think they should, if that's what needs to happen. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's true. It could be the size of the teams as well. These are independent teams out of China. And so, yeah, it could just be a resource thing. All right. We still have more to talk about with Phantom Blade Zero, though, for those who are excited for this game like myself. But we also have Heatwave PS5 here. Member for 10 months. Thank you for that, Heatwave. He says, MBG, Sony needs to deliver a PS5 Pro showcase after that huge Xbox and people saying haven't released no games this year. It's all lies and more are coming. Yeah, I'm in agreement, Heatwave. Generally speaking, I'm in agreement. We talked about this. PlayStation has done a good job delivering games and content this year and previous years, and they're continuing to do so for this year. But we do also need a big PS5 Pro showcase. That to me is imperative. We will continue to talk about that as we go, into next week and into next month and into fall, or the end of the summer, I should say. Yeah, Sony's going to have to, I think, put on a pretty big show. Because I want to say this. So I'm going to go on a little side quest here. All right. We are going to get back to the main topic of Phantom Blade Zero. But Heatwave, you kind of brought something up here that I want to mention. So the dust has settled when it comes to the showcases so far. We had PlayStation State of Play, we had Summer Game Fest, and then we had the Xbox Showcase. Of course, there was Ubisoft, but I mean, come on. I don't think anybody's sitting here saying I think Ubisoft won this year. Everybody generally feels like, okay, as of right now, Xbox won this round, right? Like they had the best showcase ever. And we've been talking about that. But now that the dust has settled, I've been able to kind of get a broader view and just kind of like see what, I'm not seeing so much of the fanboy nonsense, which is nice. And I'm actually starting to see more level head, just other people, other influencers, people who would not certainly not be considered like fanboyish or whatever, and just trying to figure out like, all right, how are people feeling about Xbox now, about that showcase? And I have to be honest with you guys, I underestimated a little bit. I did. I underestimated like how much goodwill Microsoft just won with that showcase. I absolutely knew that all it takes is one good showcase. I know that. I've known that for a long time. You can be on the ropes, you have a good showcase, you're back in the fight. That's how it goes. I don't make the rules. But man, some of the reactions that I'm seeing from people, again, not fanboys, just in general, the way people are starting to talk about Xbox, Sony's got to pay attention. They do. I'm not saying, I'm not giving my personal opinion. I've already done that. I've talked to you guys about how I feel about the show, how I feel about all the games shown, how I feel about PlayStation, how I feel about Microsoft. But broadly speaking, zoomed out, generally speaking, Sony needs to pay attention right now because Microsoft at this point in time they are back in the fight for now. I mean, there's plenty of time for Microsoft to screw up again, of course. Same with Sony. But right now, they are back in the fight. And I think this is a good thing. I do. But I didn't quite realize how much they were really back in the fight until I kind of saw the dust settle and I got to kind of... mass produce, I agree and I disagree, if that makes sense. Because you're saying nobody outside of the usual Xbox fanboys are talking about Xbox. That's wrong. People are talking about Xbox now. But what I'm noticing is it's Microsoft did a couple of things with their show that it seems a lot of people were like waiting for them to do. For example, Doom is a big one. Now, I mean, ironically, Doom's coming to PS5, and it's not a Microsoft bought Bethesda. They didn't actually make Doom, but putting that stuff aside, Doom was a big one. People were freaking out at Doom showing up. But what I'm noticing more than anything is Gears, dude. Like, I didn't quite realize how big of a deal that moment for the reveal of Gears of War E-Day was. And that's the thing that's really seemingly sticking out. And that seemed to be the thing that blew people. Like, I think that made people go from that was a really good showcase to freaking out and being like, oh my God, we're back, And I guess that makes sense because it's like we did hear going into that show that Gears was going to be the big. Yeah, listen, even though it was a cinematic trailer, it was still enough to do the job. And so I just hope Sony's paying attention. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. Because I think Xbox has a lot of momentum now going forward with whatever they want to do. Whether they want to have like another showcase later this year, if they want to show up at Gamescom or whatever, they have a lot of momentum. And I think they know that. And I just hope Sony's paying attention and just, watching what's happening and realizing that it may have taken them a long time and they may have had to spend nearly $100 billion to make this happen, but this is what it is, And I want to say one last thing. I want to say one last thing here, and I'm going to get back on track with the conversation and the topic. You guarantee E-Day will be day one on PlayStation? Dude, that would be wild. I don't think so. That would be wild. Asmongold literally told his fans to go buy an Xbox. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? I know what clip you're talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. You're talking about somebody who has like a lot of influence, bro. I mean, I don't know how many people watching Asmongold were suddenly like, yeah, I'm going to listen to you and go buy an Xbox. But just yesterday, somebody came into my chat or they left a super chat and they were like, bro, I caved and I bought a Series X. So Microsoft is doing something right here, man. His viewers only play on PC. Yeah, they're probably like, I already got one, bro. But I want to say one last thing before I move on, because this is something I actually forgot to say and failed to mention with all the other conversation we've been having about the Xbox showcase and Sony and what Sony's going to do. Is Sony going to respond? So on and so forth. I remember for I would say all of this year, all of last year, and maybe even certain points in 2022, basically ever since Microsoft officially announced, and this was I think back in 2022, Microsoft officially announced we're entering into an agreement to acquire Activision Blizzard King. I remember that ever since that announcement occurred, every 3 to 6 months that went by where Sony didn't really put on a big show, didn't show the major heavy hitter games, didn't show the new IPs. We weren't really hearing from their studios that often. I remember there was this kind of conversation that would crop up where it's like, it's probably because they're saving their stuff. And I remember that would cause a lot of arguments like, no, they're not saving anything. They just don't have anything. And that conversation would, become very toxic. But that was a conversation that would crop up every single time where it's like, no, they're saving it. They're saving it. They're not under any threat from Xbox. And I remember I said a couple of times that, there may be some truth to this. And I know some people at the time, they're just like, that's copium, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, yeah, everything's copium. I get it. But maybe there is some kind of truth to that where like, dude, if you're Sony, you just watched Microsoft acquire Bethesda. All of Bethesda. And you have no idea if those games are ever coming to your platform again. You're seeing that same company 1 year later announce, oh, we're also buying Activision Blizzard King. When I look at that and I think, if you're Sony, you're not doing shit. You're not announcing anything. You're not showing any of your cards. You are waiting. You are sitting back and you are saying, we are not going to make a move until Microsoft makes their move. And this is, as far as I can tell, man, this is it. This is the moment that everybody's been waiting for. And I think even Sony's been waiting for this moment, because Sony's not stupid. They make some, strange business decisions sometimes, but they're not stupid. Like, they knew the seriousness of Microsoft acquiring an entity like Activision Blizzard, and they understood how big of a deal this could be to them, like how much it could impact them. And so what we just got is that moment that everybody was waiting for, where it's like, okay, the deals are done. Bethesda, done. Owned. Activision Blizzard King, done. Owned. Now here's our showcase where we bring everything. And that's what it was. It was a bombardment. It was a barrage, of just boom, 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 boom. Like, it's just, how much content can one showcase have? All of it, apparently. And the rumor is there's even more that they are going to show at Gamescom. Now, if you are Sony, you're probably thinking to yourself, man, we could have made some major announcements in 2022. We could have made some major announcements in 2023. And we could have even made some major announcements earlier this year. But man, sure glad we didn't, because now we're going to need those major announcements. Last year, we didn't need them. 2022, we didn't actually need them. This year, we need them. And so I just wanted to point this out, because I do remember quite a few people telling me at the time that, bro, Sony's very likely just saving their stuff. Not in a copium way, just like, dude, there's some shit going on right now, and they got to wait and see what happens. And multiple years have passed. The dust is completely settled. Now we know what happened. So we will see, man. We will see. All right, let me get back on track here. We have Piper here with a super chat. He says, you don't think we have enough of the same kinds of games with that swordplay? Talking about Phantom Blade Zero. Well, honestly, with Phantom Blade Zero, not really. I get what you're saying. I get what you mean, where it's like, certain aspects of Phantom Blade Zero do look inspired by other games. But from what I can tell with Phantom Blade Zero, it actually, when it comes to the swordplay, looks way more insane than most other games that I've seen where you're using swords. Like, this doesn't look like it does look more like a hack and slash, but it looks like an over the top, absolutely insane hack and slash. And it reminds me of, we talked earlier about how it's the 16th anniversary of Metal Gear Solid 4. Like, dude, it reminds me of Ninja Raiden in MGS4 when he's like slicing and dicing, bro. And obviously like Metal Gear Rising, it kind of reminds me of that. And I feel like we don't get a lot of games that are doing that, at least from what I can tell. Not like these bigger AAA games. Money, you're saying, I think people mean Sony doesn't have first-party games. Yeah, that's probably... yeah, like when people say Sony doesn't have games, that's probably what they're talking about. Which I think they're still kind of wrong on that, but I get why they're saying it. And you're also saying, Money, that COD Game Pass trailer has millions of views. I'm not surprised, dude. I'm not surprised. I'm very curious to see what Call of Duty does for Game Pass, bro. This is the moment. This is it. It all rides on, I'm convinced it all rides on Call of Duty Black Ops 6 this year. This is going to be the moment where they have to convince everybody, like, get in on Game Pass. And Namanzer, member for 4 months, says, MBG, think about it. MGS3 is getting remade because they want new players to get in at the beginning. E-Day is the equivalent to that. Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. You could be right about that. I didn't really put that together. E-Day is the beginning. This is going to be like the earliest we've ever seen in the Gears of War timeline, as far as I'm aware. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And so, I mean, could they bring it to PlayStation in order to get everybody in on Gears of War in their franchise? They could, yeah. I'm not anticipating that though, Navitzer. Like, I see where the logic you're bringing to the table is there, but I just, that's one of those things where until Microsoft says it themselves, I'm not going. Like, there are some other games that Microsoft is developing that I might say, like State of Decay 3, like maybe that could come to PlayStation. Yeah, and I don't know that that's a major franchise, for Microsoft. I don't know that they view it that way. But a game like Gears of War E-Day, I don't know, man. I'm much more inclined to think that Microsoft is like, oh, we're going to use this. Like maybe eventually way down the line it'll come to PlayStation, but it is also years away, apparently. So, and we have a Disco Cobra 2013 coming in with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Disco Cobra. You're saying here, what are your thoughts on Blops 6 coming to Game Pass day one? Also, what are the games you like the most from the Xbox Showcase? My thoughts on Call of Duty Black Ops 6 coming day one to Game Pass are, it's not shocking because, I mean, Microsoft pretty much said this is what they were going to do. And, it was just a matter of like, were they bluffing or are they actually going to go through with it? And so they're like, they're making good on their word and like, yeah, it's going day one in the Game Pass. I think it has the potential to elevate Game Pass to a level that it just simply hasn't gotten anywhere close to yet. I think it has that potential. I don't know that it's a guarantee. I think that there are people who believe it's a guarantee that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will boost Game Pass by an easy 10 million subs. I don't believe that. It's possible. It could do it. It has the best chance of any game to do something like that. But I also know that people are very, very conditioned with Call of Duty to the point where, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing for Microsoft because Microsoft wins either way. If people don't go into Game Pass, that means they're buying the game. That doesn't hurt Microsoft. So I think it's a good test for Microsoft, and I don't look at it as a guarantee that it will always be this way. But yeah, I think Microsoft is just going to drop Black Ops 6 in the Game Pass and essentially say this has to move the needle, because if it doesn't, nothing else will. And when it comes to some of the games I like most from the Xbox Showcase, I really enjoyed that State of Decay 3 trailer. I rewatched it, and apparently there was a little bit of information where Undead Labs did confirm that it's going to be a much bigger world and a much more interconnected, and that gets me excited because it seems like they're really trying to like make this game the big AAA version of State of Decay that I always wanted. Shelly, I just want to say, yeah, I know about I'm reserving that topic for tomorrow. That came out as soon as I went live today, so we're gonna have like a whole segment tomorrow where we cover all of the previews, because I definitely want to hear what people are saying. I'm so happy to hear that the coverage is positive. I'm not surprised though. But yeah, I liked State of Decay 3. Fable looks interesting to me. I have to admit. Like, I know that there's some hate on Fable from some people, but I will say that trailer, like the way that they presented it, the story that they're setting up, and also they're kind of teasing the open world a little bit. And I'm like, this is Playground Games here. This is Playground Games. Like, I'm going to give them a chance. So that kind of piqued my interest. I like that one game. I keep forgetting. South of Midnight? Is that the name of the game? I actually was quite surprised. I had zero interest in that. And then they showed some gameplay. They showed some combat. And I was like, okay, I might be interested in this. Like, I'm actually surprised at how fun that combat looks. And then obviously, Gears looked pretty sick as well. I mean, it's hard for me to get excited just because I have no idea when that's coming out. But I like I like that they're taking Gears back. Because, like, when I think of Gears, I do think of, like, the original Gears trilogy, but especially like, Gears 1 when it was a little bit scarier, a little bit more hard, a little bit darker. I'm like, okay, all right. I like this. So those are some of the things that I enjoyed from the Xbox showcase. South of Midnight is clearly Fable New Orleans. Yeah, I get that vibe. Not a bad thing, though. We have Warden here, member for 3 months. He says, thanks for the gift. Well, that's thanks to the community, man. We have an amazing community here. A lot of great support, a lot of people who gift memberships. So Warden is expressing his thanks to you guys. And Isaac Adrian is back. Uh-oh. He says, I'm back. Take off hat. Bro, we gotta think of something else, man. I feel like you're gonna die on this hill. You're gonna like donate massive amounts of money saying take off the hat. PS Gamer has a chat, but thank you for that, Isaac. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support, man. We have PS Gamer coming in with a direct donation over on Streamlabs, which, yeah, for those who don't know, the pinned comment in the chat box is a direct donation link where you still can leave a message, and 100% of what you donate goes directly to the content creator. PS Gamer, thank you for the tip. You're saying, MBG, not a lot of people talking about this, but you need Game Pass Ultimate, which is $17 a month to get full access to Black Ops 6. If you only get the normal tier, you will only have access to single player. This means with 3 months of subs, you already bought the game, LOL. Wait, hold on. Is this true? Oh, wait, hold on. No, I don't know. Something doesn't sound right about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot that they rolled Xbox Live Gold into Game Pass Ultimate. Correct? Hold on. So there's Game Pass Core, and then there is regular Game Pass, right? And then there's Game Pass Ultimate? Wait, what is Game Pass Core exactly? Now I'm confused. With Core, you only get 20 games. Hold on. Why would somebody subscribe to Game Pass Core, though? Let me see. Game Pass tiers. I'm on the website, and they're not... Choose your plan. I'm going to look at console. So, okay. Game Pass Core, $10 a month. Online console multiplayer. A catalog of 25 high-quality games on console. Member deals and discounts. Game Pass Ultimate, $17 a month. Hundreds of high-quality games on console, PC, and cloud. New games on day one. Member deals, discounts, and perks. Online console. Oh. Hold on a second. Hold on now. You don't get games day one on Game Pass Core? How wait, what? How long has it been this way, bro? What? Oh shit, I did not know that. Oh yes, that is the most stealth price increase I've ever... Even I had no idea. That's insane. I mean, it's not shocking, but it's like, I can't believe I didn't know that this whole time. No, I didn't know that. I thought... Hold on. All right. Answer me this question. If you subscribe to Game Pass... If I subscribe to Game Pass Core for $10 right now, $10, Game Pass Core, you're telling me that when I go on my console, or if I go on my PC, well, I guess I'll just stick to the console. If I were to go on my Xbox console, I'm subscribed to Game Pass Core, and I'm not. You're not going to get Black Ops 6? Or wait, if you were subscribed to Game Pass Core, did you not get? You didn't get Hellblade 2 day one? Core gets something. Wow, I am genuinely surprised right now. I don't know how I didn't know this. And Isaac Adrian will not stop causing chaos, bro. Isaac Adrian says 1,000 to take off the hat, bro. Listen, Isaac, I'm going to tell you right now. Would I love for you to donate $1,000 right now? Absolutely, I would. But I can't do it that way, dude. I just can't. I'm sorry. Like, I absolutely would like your money and, you know, to funnel that into the channel. But I'm not going to lie to you and tell you if you drop $1,000, I'm just going to take my hat off. People may think I'm crazy for that, but it's because it's got to be, there has to be something to it. You know what I mean? I don't know though. I will think about this though. I will tell you, I will at least think about it. Yeah, $1,005. I might think about it because maybe I'm going too nuts here, right? Maybe I'm building it up to be a bigger thing than it is. If you were to drop $1,000, maybe that would be the best time to take the hat off. I don't know. I feel like I gotta shave my head first though, bro. Like I've been letting my hair grow a little bit. 1K, do it. Am I crazy? 1,000 is worth it. But it's a one-time thing, man. You know what I mean? Like it's a one-time thing. Like once it happens, like once the genie's out of the bottle, you know, then going back in. Isaac, if you do that, you do a direct donation. Nah, listen. I don't know. I have to contemplate this one for a little bit. $1,000. It makes me feel a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, how far are we? You know, how far are we? Where it's like, all right, $1,000 to take off the hat. How much to show your feet? How far are we from that? Less hair, you're just more evolved. It's the testosterone, bro. I don't know. Is that a thing? Yeah, today it's the hat. Tomorrow it's the pants. Isaac Adrian is here to wreak havoc, though. That's for sure. That's for sure. Give the people what they want. How much to inject synthol? Oh, come on, bro. Come on, Gaming Survivor. Isaac Adrian's making me nervous over here, bro. 1K to put a hat on, boss. Corey says, MBG, bro, like me, you probably got a receding hairline. Oh, yeah, my hairline's definitely receded. I have, you can visualize it. I have the horseshoe thing going on a little bit. Although there's this one spot of my hair in the front, like when it starts to grow in a little bit, there's one patch in the middle. It's not really big. It's just literally like one small patch where it just won't grow at all. And I'm like, this could look okay if it grew in fully with the way it's shaped, but there's just got to be this one small patch. Although I think I'm starting to go here too, where the scalp is. I think that's starting to go too. I saw that. Yeah, Metallica entering Fortnite. I had to do a triple take on that one. A hair transplant. No, dude. I shave my head usually. I do embrace the bald. Listen, I don't know. Isaac, I'll think about it. Next time I shave my head, bro, and you're in the chat, you drop 1,000, I might just do it. I might just say, screw it. Let's go. But, I got to shave my head first. I got to shave the head, grow the beard, and then put the Kratos paint on. All right? Yeah, you know what? Sony couldn't provide a showcase. I'll provide the showcase. Head reveal. Tune in. Hype. See it in all its glory. All right. Need to get back on track here before Isaac completely derails us again. I think he gets some kind of sick pleasure out of it. We need to talk about Phantom Blade Zero once again. Yeah, world premiere, bro. I do want to finish going over the Q&A with Phantom Blade Zero because I don't know how many people came across this, but the developer says, Phantom Blade Zero Summer 2024 Developer Update. Hello, everyone. We've been thrilled and humbled by the reception of Phantom Blade Zero during this year's Summer Game Fest. Thank you all for watching the latest trailer, experiencing our first ever playable demo, and providing us your valuable feedback. Why a playable demo? Phantom Blade Zero made a big splash during last year's PlayStation Showcase, surprising us as much as everyone else. Since then, we have seen quite a bit of doubt on social media, with people saying the game couldn't possibly be real. Our purpose for bringing a playable demo to Summer Game Fest was to showcase that everything you've seen so far can be pulled off in an exciting and deliberate way, combining strategy and reflexes, to create a satisfying experience that is easy to pick up but difficult to master. I just want to say, I found this interesting. This seems to be a big focus from the development team, is they feel like they got something to prove because so many people were doubtful. So many people were like, bro, I don't think that gameplay is real. Like, I don't think you're actually going to be doing much. Like, you're just pressing a couple buttons and that's about it, and you're doing all that stuff. So they seem to be pretty serious with this demo about trying to prove something, which I appreciate. We have PS Gamer here with another direct donation. He says, after this info about Game Pass, do you think Black Ops will help with the sub? Just small calculations. No one will move from other consoles where their friends play and have a party to rent Black Ops 3 for 3 months. You just buy the game. You know what? Yeah, really quick, before I continue with the Q&A here from the developer. Yeah, I won't lie. I didn't know that. I didn't know that these games are not dropping into Game Pass Core. I had no idea. I didn't know that to get these games day one, you had to be in Game Pass Ultimate. And so, I don't know. Somebody said the campaign for Black Ops 6 is going to be available, though, for Game Pass Core. So it definitely changes my opinion on it a little bit. Not like dramatically, but yeah, dude, if that was me, I would seriously just have to think about how long do I plan on playing Call of Duty. If I was only planning on playing for 1 or 2 months, maybe it's worth it. Subscribe for 2 months, then unsub. And you can also test out a bunch of other games. But if Call of Duty was like one of my go-to games that I play all throughout the year, yeah, I don't know why you would remain subscribed to Game Pass and make that the way you access it. You would be paying more money, especially if it's one of the only games you play. So, yeah, I don't know. That changes things a little bit for sure. MBG, it's not like that. Game Pass is just day one games. Game Pass Ultimate is day one games plus online. Game Pass Core is the okay. You know what? All right. I had a feel. I was like, dude, something. I must have went into a coma for like a week there or something and missed the announcement that if you subscribe to regular Game Pass Core, you don't get So you still get single player games. You still get single player games, but you just don't get multiplayer. Game Pass Core is just online. All right, look, I have it up right now. I need to settle this right now. Okay? PC. Game Pass Core for PC. Or no, it's just called Game Pass PC. $10 a month. Hundreds of high-quality games on PC. New games on day one. Member deals and discounts. EA Play membership. Game Pass Ultimate for PC. Hundreds of high-quality games on console, PC, and cloud. New games on day one. Member deals, discounts, and perks. Online console multiplayer. EA Play membership. On console, Game Pass Core, $10 a month. Online console multiplayer. Catalog of over 25 high-quality games on console. Member deals and discounts. Game Pass Ultimate, $17 a month. Hundreds of high-quality games on console and PC and cloud. New games day one. Member deals, discounts, and perks. Online console multiplayer. EA Play membership. And Machiavelli24, member for 4 months, says, bro bald like Johnny Sins. Damn. Now I'm really confused. I'm even more confused now because when I click PC, Game Pass PC for $10, new games day one. I click console, Game Pass Core for $10. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say new games day one. It just says a catalog of 25 high quality games. Core is literally gold rebranded. It's not on PC. Yeah, I don't know, man. Shit just sounds like a nightmare to me. I'm gonna be honest. And I'm not saying it to like sounds, like salty against Game Pass because it's not. It's just like honestly, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy a game that I like. I'm good. Like it just is just like what? $17 a month. I mean, Game Pass Core is just Xbox Live. It isn't Game Pass. So you're telling me, yeah, I don't know. I guess it just seems more complicated to me because, I'm looking at the PC side and it's like for $10 you get more than if you pay $10 on console. So just sticking to the console. It seems like essentially what's going on here is if you want the true Game Pass experience on console, you're going to subscribe to Ultimate. If you don't subscribe to Ultimate, you're not getting the true Game Pass experience and you're going to miss out on a lot of games. Like straight up, like that's basically what it's saying. That's how I'm reading this. And so, okay. All right. Huh. I don't know why I didn't quite realize that. But anyway. All right, I'm glad we cleared that up. Learn something new every day. Let's get back here to the main topic of discussion though. Although we did talk quite a bit about Xbox here, which I guess is understandable. They're kind of like, that's what a lot of people are still talking about after the showcase. We have a second question and answer here from the developer of Phantom Blade Zero. They say, another Souls-like, ? As of now, those who have tried the demo should have a solid idea that it's not a Souls-like game. It's worth stressing again that making another Souls-like was never part of the plan. We want combo-driven, heart-pumping combat that is hectic, rewarding, and exhilarating. We did take inspiration from Souls-like games such as multi-layered maps, multiple approach paths, and hidden nooks and crevices, but the similarities stop there. There will be difficulty options, and you won't have to face respawned mobs after you die or interact with checkpoints. So, clearing it up right away, it's not another Souls-like. For some people, maybe that's good. For others, maybe it's a little bit disappointing. I actually like this. I do think it's getting a little bit nuts with how many Souls-likes there are. I'll still play many of them, as long as they're doing something unique. To be fair, to be honest, I mean, this game could be a Souls-like, and I'd still be interested in it. But I'm glad that they're just making it clear that no, this is different. It sounds almost more like Devil May Cry-esque. They say online demo. They say this demo we're providing is offline only. We are really sorry about the disappointment and beg your forgiveness, dear eager gamers who are reading this. The unvarnished truth is that this demo simply isn't ready for testing on a large scale. At Summer Game Fest, we've already seen some frame rate issues and occasional crashes. This demo is ready for testing in a controlled environment. We will get to find out what its issues are without being overwhelmed by feedback, so we are taking this step for now. We prefer tackling problems early in the development process instead of releasing something hastily and having it blow up in the player's face. Please kindly bear with us a while longer until we get a solid demo ready for the general public. So I appreciate I actually really appreciate how just honest they're being about it, where it's like, listen, bro, it's not ready. All right, it's barely ready to be played in this small environment, and we're still having some issues. I think that's good. I appreciate them letting us know. And I think this is a good way to communicate with fans. I think gamers and people, I think they're very understanding if you're just transparent and honest with them. And I have no problem waiting for a demo. I have no problem waiting for them to get this game where it needs to be. But yeah, it's all sounding pretty good. I have a one other section to this one other section with this conversation around Phantom Blade Zero. Let me get this out of here. So this is a preview that I came across from Games Radar Plus, and it says Phantom Blade Zero is not a Souls-like. It's an irresponsibly fast action RPG that has somehow become one of my favorite Summer Game Fest favorites. It says the first hands-on demo of Phantom Blade Zero, the kung fu-powered action RPG that made quite the splash at last May's PlayStation show, was hovering around the middle of the pack on my mental list of games to see at Summer Game Fest 2024. I ended up beating the demo twice, and it has rocketed to the front as one of my favorite games of the whole show. It's not a Souls-like, and I'm uncharacteristically not disappointed by this. Saddling this game with the deliberate pacing of the genre would only weaken the absurd speed and aggression that makes Phantom Blade stand out. It is irresponsibly fast, but it just works. Continues by saying, my response to this game's reveal trailer was, judging from the top YouTube comments on that video shared by a lot of people, okay, that looks cool, but does it feel that cool to play? Yeah, as it turns out, it does. Shake the visions of Sekiro and Elden Ring out of your head like water out of your ears. Even Sekiro isn't this fast. This is genetically closer to the likes of Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry, and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It's character action baby. One developer on the Summer Game Fest show floor reckoned that it's 30% Souls-like and 70% character action. Propelled by its love of Chinese martial arts, Phantom Blade Zero sets up a blazing fast combo-heavy extravaganza where you can delete some bosses in seconds if you know what you're doing, just as a bad mistake can send you right back to your last spawn point. You can tell this is a character action game because if you press the attack button 3 times, your character will explode forward and perform a hell of a lot more than 3 hits. Attack strings are long and lavish. No opportunity to look stylish is wasted. Even when you block, you do not passively weather attacks. You smack the enemy's weapon out of the way with blows of your own, resulting in a frantic steel slap fight that looks way cooler then I'm probably making it sound. In Souls-like, you trade blows with enemies. In Phantom Blade Zero, you trade entire combos. I started the demo with a katana and a pair of twin short swords, able to swap between them mid-attack to reset and thereby extend my combo. The swap is tied to a brief cooldown, which I quickly learned to save for an opening when I've already got an enemy staggered. I found a heavy sword later on, apparently stolen from one of the bosses, and even it felt remarkably light for its size. Each weapon has its own special attack, branching light and heavy combo strings and brutal execution animations for stance broken enemies. It continues here by saying, add in 2 equipable ranged weapons like a charged lion-headed cannon or a hefty longbow, and you end up spoiled for choice on the murder train. Then comes the perfectly dodged lethal red attacks, the perfectly parried heavy blue attacks, and stealthily executions out of the non-linear but not oversized world. Explore parkour, find secrets, cut groups of basic and elite enemies to ribbons, and sharpen your blade for the next boss. The demo, at least, was incredibly boss-heavy, but I'm told there's plenty to explore in the full game. Phantom Blade Zero gives you a lot to play with in just the demo, and I was overwhelmed on my first run. It feels like driving a fast car for the first time. You barely tap on the gas only to lurch forward so hard that your neck audibly cracks as your head snaps back. My first demo time was 10:10 with 3 deaths. My next run with Director S of Developer S Games, joining me on the couch for a lengthy interview coming soon, went much better, 7:43 with 0 deaths. And so that's pretty much the extent of that write-up. But I wanted to be sure to read that because I feel like we've all watched the gameplay that was shown in the trailer, and there is a gameplay demo that you can go watch. But I thought it was good to get an actual description, like an in-depth description of what this game feels like to play. And it seems clear to me that, it seems clear to me that the game's going to be pretty brutal and fast-paced. Roofer Man. Hold on now. Oh, no. Where was he? Roofer Man, you're saying Jason Schreier has confirmed fewer titles in development for PS5 and mostly live service games. Just wow. Where did he confirm this? Is this like a report? Oh, damn. Okay. It seems like it is. Uh-oh. Huh. Okay. Well, I can't. All right. I'm going to have to just go. This is a paywalled report, but it seems to be summarized on the Gaming Leaks Rumor subreddit. So that's going to conclude our topic for Phantom Blade Zero. Very much excited for this game. I want to go over this. So this is kind of like a breaking news type thing, or just like I would save this for tomorrow, but I'm not going to be able. Like, I can save the Astrobot and Horizon previews for tomorrow, but this I'm going to read now. I want to know what's going on. Because it doesn't sound good, but you got to be careful with Jason Schreier. So, I mean, Jason Schreier, he's accurate. What I mean to say with Jason Schreier is, well, sometimes I think things can be made to sound worse than they actually are. We'll see. I don't know. I don't even know what he said. This is, and I also just want to say this as well. If this is a significant of enough topic, because again, I'm just kind of throwing this in here, we may end up talking about this again tomorrow. But on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, says here, Jason Schreier, fewer PlayStation projects in the pipeline due to a pivot to service games that went awry. Later this year, PlayStation will publish 2 marquee titles, Astrobot, a colorful platformer, and LEGO Horizon Adventures, an adaptation of the sci-fi Horizon series that transforms the robot dinosaurs into LEGO constructions. Astrobot will be an exclusive to PS5, while LEGO Horizon Adventures will come to PC and to... Okay. Okay. That's not helpful. It's a stark contrast from previous holiday seasons during which the console manufacturer typically spends hundreds of millions of dollars on big exclusives such as Spider-Man and Ghost of Tsushima that tell adult-focused stories. But with some major titles delayed and fewer projects in the pipeline due to a pivot to service games that went awry, PlayStation will look to bolster holiday console sales by reaching a new audience. Okay, is that it? That's it. Am I missing something here? Hold on. Does he say like? Does he have did he talk to sources? Well, I don't understand what's going on here. Yeah, is this an opinion piece or is this a report, bro? Like, is he just hold on, like? Is Jason Schreier just saying what Sony themselves said? Like, we don't have any big games this year? I thought there was going to be some kind of juicy, like, scoop that was like, wait until you hear what's going on inside PlayStation Studios. Come on, boss. I mean, I'm kind of relieved in a way because I was expecting there to be some kind of like, Sony only has like 2 single player games in development or something. Yeah, it seems like last time people doubted Jason and believed the devs, The Last of Us Online got canned. Well, no, it's not. I absolutely do trust Jason Schreier because he is like, he doesn't really miss. You know, he's one of the most reliable sources in the industry. He's earned that. But the thing that I don't understand here is, well, I can't read the entire article. It is paywalled, and I'm not going to subscribe to Bloomberg, honestly. But if there's something of significance that's revealed in this article that like claims he talked to sources and, you know, Sony's pipeline, because I feel like the way this is worded, he says here some major titles delayed and fewer projects in the pipeline due to a pivot to service games that went awry. Like, we just saw that. Like, yeah, that's not a scoop. Like, we literally just watched that happen. You know? We watched multiple live service games get canceled. We know that Sony doesn't have any big tentpole AAA games for this year or for the first couple months of 2025. So we know that. So if that's what he's talking about, then okay. I mean, yeah. But I'm over here waiting. I'm like, wait, is he about to reveal that Naughty Dog's game is like 3.5 years away and Ghost of Tsushima 2 is nowhere near being done or something like that? You know what I mean? Where it's like these games that we would hope to hear about soon or start to see revealed, it's just like they're not. He's just referencing games we already know about that were canceled. Yeah, probably. Do we think it's just downhill for the next few years? So here's my theory, right? Here's my theory. I don't think it's downhill for the next 3 years, no. But I do think that there is a chance, and I could be totally wrong, but just knowing that Sony pursued live service, knowing that Naughty Dog had to cancel their Last of Us Online game, knowing that we still haven't seen Wolverine gameplay, I think there's a chance that we may get fewer big titles from Sony for the rest of the generation than we might have originally thought. I don't think it'll be bad. I just think it will be kind of obvious that some of these games truly are taking so long that they're not going to be ready until next gen. You know, that like people, let me give you an example. Let me ask you a question. What year do you think Ghost of Tsushima 2 is going to release? If you had to guess, Ghost of Tsushima, we know Sucker Punch is working on a sequel. They've been working on it, presumably since it finished. What year do you think, like, would you expect that game to be ready to release? I'm seeing a lot of 2026s, a couple of 2025s. I've seen 2 2027s. Yeah, so my gut tells me 2026. That's what my gut tells me. My gut tells me 2025 is simply too early. However, realistically, going against my gut and just kind of, understanding that these things might not work the way I intuitively think they do, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Ghost of Tsushima 2 is like, oh yeah, this game's not going to be ready till 2027. Like, we're making some good progress, but yeah, this is not coming out anytime soon. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be, because it's like, sometimes that's just how it goes, man. Like, sometimes it's just like, we're trying to make one of the biggest and best games ever made. Shit's not going to be done in 5 years or even 6 years. It's going to take longer than that. And it is a little bit disappointing, no matter which way you slice it. No pun intended, if that's the case. And I could be, that's pure speculation, by the way. I'm not saying that that's, I heard from a source. No, not at all. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised. Because think about it. You remember when Wolverine was announced in 2021? We all thought, oh, dude, Wolverine's probably going to come out in 2024, maybe. But a lot of us were like, no. Wolverine's not coming in 2024. Wolverine's coming in 2025. And then we found out through a leak that actually, no, dude, that game's coming out in 2026. And that, I remember when I saw that, I was a little bit like, whoa. Okay, that's longer than I expected. But that's just the name of the game, bro. Like, you want to make the biggest and best AAA games. That's what you're signing up for. Antonio Lopes, you're saying Jason Schreier on Reset Era, a bunch of, for example, Naughty Dog employees working on a live service game for years absolutely came at the expense of other potential projects they could have been making. Yeah, I don't think there's any way around that, man. I can't, yeah. I mean, that's like a situation where if somebody were to say, bro, you're not seeing a new Naughty Dog game this gen, I would believe them. Because I firmly believe Naughty Dog was severely mismanaged. Yeah, well, the timing of everything is interesting. Like, I remember when Jim Ryan announced that he was retiring, there was this conspiracy theory that went around for quite some time where it's like, yo, he's not retiring. He got fired. He fucked stuff up. And, they gave him a good send off. It didn't, like, I'll put it to you this way. If Jim Ryan was asked to step down or retire, it was not obvious. However, when you look at some of the mismanagement that occurred and the timing, where it's like, think about it. Jim Ryan says, I'm retiring in a couple months out of nowhere. And that's it. And then the next thing that happens is Hiroki Totoki, the president of PlayStation, takes over and cleans a bunch of shit up. He's canceling projects or projects that were already going to be canceled. He's, it just seemed like there was some kind of reorganization that went down. And it seemed like it went down because there was some serious mismanagement going on. And that serious mismanagement seems to have stemmed from this live service push. Because Sony is making it clear that they're not abandoning live service. Not at all. But at the same time, like, they're not nearly as bullish on it when they're talking to their, to their shareholders, by the way. Like, they're still saying, like, yeah, we're still doing live service. And, Helldivers 2, 12 million sold. We got Concord coming out. But, it just seems clear to me that some shit went wrong behind the scenes. And, it sucks, man, because that's the last thing I want to hear about. Like, the last thing I want to hear is Sony is mismanaging or did mismanage some of their studios, and things just kind of got somewhat delayed because of that. But I think that's obvious at this point, like, at least fairly obvious. The only thing that makes me worried is simply this. Like, I still have this belief that, okay, we didn't get a big showcase last year. Like, we didn't get big reveals last year. We didn't get big reveals in 2022. The only major reveal we got in 2021 was Wolverine, and I guess maybe God of War, which was big, certainly. But like, other than that, we really haven't gotten like multiple major reveals since 2020. Truthfully, like, we just haven't. We did get Spider-Man 2. So in 2020, we got multiple major reveals. And then 2021, we got a couple more with God of War, Spider-Man 2. Well, actually, God of War was revealed in 2020. We got Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. Since then, we just haven't. We just haven't. Like, we haven't gotten any major reveals. And I'm still of the belief that we're going to get those reveals this year. Like, we have to, because there's no pipeline, there's no roadmap. Nobody knows what's coming in 2025. So this is the moment, right? And I talked earlier about how maybe Sony's saving some stuff. To me, a nightmare situation for PlayStation could arise, by the way. It could happen. A nightmare situation would be September rolls around. There is going to be an event. It's going to be a PS5 Pro event, and Sony has minimal to show. That would be a fucking nightmare. Because that would confirm the like harsh truth of like, oh yeah, we don't have anything ready to go anytime soon. That would be bad. Now, however, I don't believe that, because Hiroki Totoki told the investors himself, 2025, 2026, we're going to make a lot more money from our first party. So I think that even if Jim Ryan screwed up a little bit, I don't think he screwed up completely. Like, I don't think Jim Ryan said, cancel Ghost of Tsushima 2. We're not doing that shit. He didn't tell Insomniac not to make Wolverine. I don't think. I mean, it's still seemingly on track for 2026. It's not like he canceled Death Stranding and said, no more Kojima. He didn't do any of that. But it does seem like some of these teams that could have been ready, in the next year or two, are now not going to be, because they were working on live service stuff. And that live service stuff just didn't work out. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's just more of like all of this stuff is going to come a little bit later than we suspected, but it's not like, nightmare scenario where, all of these teams are starting from scratch again or something. You know what I mean? That would be horrible. I feel like you'd have to mismanage your studio so severely to do that. And we have OK here with the super chat saying PS6 is now the main focus for Holst/PlayStation Studios. I do agree with that. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. This is around that time, and we talked about this, OK, right? Like, this is around that time where, yes, you have the whole second half of this generation that you need to see through, but Sony already knows what games are coming for the rest of this generation. They know this. Like, they actually have the roadmap in front of them. They just haven't told us it yet, but they know. They know what their big hitters going to be in 2025. They know what their big hitters are going to be in 2026 and 2027. But preparing for a new console launch takes a massive amount of preparation, and you have to start early, or you're going to be, not if not left behind, you're going to be underprepared, right? And that's the last thing you want. So I think right now it's just a matter of they probably laid out like, this is what the remainder of this generation's pipeline is pretty much going to look like. And obviously they have to have enough there to keep everybody happy and keep sales flowing. They also have the help of GTA 6, as we talked about. But there's also this major push of like, the PlayStation 6 isn't fully developed, obviously, but they're probably knee deep. Mark Cerny's probably knee deep in PlayStation 6 development right now with the engineering team. And a lot of decisions need to be made. A lot of planning is going on right now. And part of that is also figuring out which teams are going to start developing PlayStation 6 games, because that's a big decision that has to be made, right? Like, I remember there was this rumor that The Last of Us Part 3 is targeting to be like a PlayStation 6 launch window title. Maybe not at the launch of the PlayStation 6, but like a year or so, like within the first year of the PlayStation 6 launching. I heard this rumor that Last of Us Part 3 was targeting that. And it's interesting because Naughty Dog says we have multiple new games in development. And Neil Druckmann even said, like, oh yeah, we have a concept for what we want The Last of Us Part 3 to be. But I don't know, maybe that's bogus, you know? I mean, if Naughty Dog tells me you have 2 single-player games in development, I'm going to assume one of those games is The Last of Us Part 3. But I'm also going to assume that the other one has to be something new. So the question for me is, like, what's the timeline of all this stuff? You know, like, knowing that they canceled a multiplayer game. I guess what I'm trying to say is Naughty Dog could be one of those studios where they're like, yeah, we're gonna have you guys move on to PlayStation 6. Yeah. You know? I wouldn't be shocked. MVG Lego Horizon Adventures, Ray Tracing. 7-8. Wow, that's really short. That's interesting. Did they say how much that game is? We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm gonna dedicate tomorrow's stream to talking about that. I don't want to go over all the details here yet. We have Kyle here with a super chat. It says 20th time super chatting. Thank you for that, Kyle. He says Sony's about to show smash after smash hits. If we document a title per studio that we are aware of, you can only imagine the hits we are about to see. Yeah, I'm trying not to. It's hard not to, but I'm trying not to assume to know how Herman Hulst is going to do this. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I know what the PS5 launch looks like with Jim Ryan at the helm. I know what that looks like. I know what the first half of the PS5 underneath Jim Ryan looks like. With Herman Hulst, I don't know. You know, it would be easy for me to assume that Herman is just going to kind of follow the path, right? Like, this is what the previous leaders did for the second half of the PS4 and the first half of the PS5. So kind of follow that. But I don't know. He could be... What OK saying here could be true, man. Herman could just be like, we're going fucking... Listen, Xbox is having their showcase. Here's what I think Sony knows. And I think it matters to Sony. I do. I think no matter how good that Xbox showcase is, Sony knows 2 things. And we know these things too. But imagine if you're Sony, how much more important these 2 things are to you. They know, number one, no matter how good your showcase is, you're not making a comeback with console sales this generation. No chance. You're not catching the PS5. There's no hope for that. That's number one. Number 2, we also know that you already did, and you're continuing, you just announced it yourself, to bring more of your games to our platform. So, yeah, I'm not saying that Sony doesn't care. What I'm actually saying is I think Sony doesn't care about the rest of this generation, competitively speaking. I think Sony is... I don't want to make it sound like they're going to do the bare minimum. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that they probably are just looking at it as like, listen, here's our plan. We're going to execute this plan for the rest of this generation. But really, if we have to worry about Microsoft ever, we probably have to worry about them in what they're going to do next. You know? And even if they don't want to look at it from a competitive standpoint, Sony still has to worry. And this is what I want to tell people, is that if you're worried about Sony getting complacent, one of the things that should ensure that they shouldn't get complacent, like even if Microsoft announced, like, yeah, we're bringing Gears to PlayStation, Halo, whatever, even if that were to happen, what shouldn't make Sony complacent is the need to, like, they have to get people excited for the PlayStation 6. Like, put Xbox aside, put Nintendo aside. Sony's job is going to be like, why are people in the year 2028 going to want to buy a PlayStation 6 or 2027? Why? That's going to be Sony's biggest hurdle. And I just think that that's worth keeping in mind because, I mean, obviously I'm looking very much towards the next 3 or 4 years. Titus, you think I'm in spin mode? I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be in spin mode. I'm trying to be just honestly realistic. In from my perspective, I think Sony needs to be on alert after what Microsoft just did. But I'm trying to think about, okay, if I was working at Sony at PlayStation, here's something else that I want to point out to people. Sony knows something we don't. Sony knows more Xbox games that are coming to PlayStation. Sony knows about these things in advance. Like, Sony knew a while ago that Sea of Thieves was coming to PlayStation. Like, Sony knew well before we, the public, knew. And this was proven by Rare talking about how they worked with Sony. They had, like, you know, the tinted glass or whatever, or the frosted glass, so nobody could see what was going on at Rare. And, like, they were literally working with PlayStation. So whatever, like Sony knows what, at least the next batch of games that are coming that are already, like, being ported over. There's a lot of different classification stuff and certification stuff that has to go on behind the scenes. I'm just trying to think, if you are Sony, you're probably still not feeling much pressure. You know, at least not as much as maybe the internet is making it sound like. Oh, just because, I don't know, man. It's weird to me. It's actually kind of wild to me that one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game that Microsoft revealed, was Gears of War E-Day, and I'm seeing people having conversations like, is this coming to PlayStation? I'm like, that's fucking wild, bro. Like, that it's just the concept of that being a conversation around this newly revealed Gears of War title that people are super hyped for. It's like, what timeline did we slip into? You know what I mean? Like, I almost wonder if PlayStation's wondering that too. Like, what timeline did we slip into here? Like I said, I don't think it is, but it's just the fact that those conversations are even happening, and Microsoft isn't stopping it. Microsoft isn't coming out and saying it's not. Like, they could do that. They're not doing that. Insiders are some insiders are doing that, but not Microsoft, and that's weird to me because it's just like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect anymore. I keep, when I sit here and I go deeper into thought with these conversations, sometimes I start to feel like, oh, I think I figured it out, but then it's like, no, I don't know. You don't know, MBG, and nobody here right now knows. We're going to find out. Do I want to bet? Captain Hook, you're saying, member for 6 months. Thank you, buddy. Saying, this generation of PS5 has been underwhelming, and it's becoming clear why. I'm struggling to name 3 things Ryan did to better the PlayStation brand. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I never thought of it like that. I mean, it's interesting to me how my viewpoint on Jim Ryan, like, reflecting on his time as PlayStation CEO and the launch of the PS5, I feel like the most amount, like, the biggest thing that comes to mind first is, well, he didn't destroy PlayStation. He didn't destroy the PS5. He didn't kill the console. He wasn't a Don Matrick. But I also don't view Jim as, like, And he brought, I mean, he did some things really well, I think, just launching the console during the pandemic, which is like, yeah, that was probably hard as shit. PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium, green lighting things like the PS5 Pro, I guess, for people who are excited for that. Securing partnership exclusivity and stuff like that. So he definitely did some good things, but yeah, I don't really know that he left much of a mark. Yeah, he'll be remembered for also the live service pivot, some studios having, some struggles. And I think, Jim Ryan got memed on a lot too. And I don't recall that happening with like the previous wave of PlayStation executives. There's a new massive PlayStation leak. Uh-oh. Is it what we talked about? Or is it something new? You have to let me know. I'm not seeing anything. Herman has to leave his own mark, not following Jim's path. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. We have a okay again here with another super chat saying PlayStation needs a lineup of FP games for the first 1 to 3 years of PlayStation 6. When you say FP games, did you mean to type single player? Do you mean single player, or am I? Because I'm when I see FP, I automatically think first person. Oh, you're talking about the Epic Games leak? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was pretty massive. MBG, I saw half your head the other day. Uh-oh. Did you? We don't talk about that. We don't discuss that. Dark Horse, you're saying Call of Duty will stop the bleeding of Xbox. MBG, if we see any more games come over, it will be games that were never intended to be exclusive, in my opinion. IP Gaming, you're saying it's clipped on Twitter? No way, bro. Hold on, who clipped that? I should have known that was going to become a clip. It was a prosthetic head. Yeah, it wasn't real, bro. We all know I'm hiding a mullet under here. That's funny, dude. I mean, something like that I don't mind getting clipped. Did I shave today? No, I didn't. Didn't shave the head yet. Oh, first part, of course. Sorry. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I couldn't figure that out. I did have a mohawk at one point, actually, when I was a teenager. Maybe I'll show a picture one day. You're telling me to go check Jeff Keighley? All right, I'm on Jeff Keighley's account. Let's see here. Oh, you talking about what he had to say about Astrobot? I played Astrobot this weekend, Summer Game Fest, and it is spectacular. Yeah, it's been getting nothing but a positive response and positive feedback from what I'm seeing. Okay. Let me see where I'm at here. So we have Figuratively Literal saying there was a rumor about Sony licensing their IP to other publishers to supplement their releases. So it sounds like they'll fill in some gaps. I remember reading about that as well. And I think one of the rumors claimed that Sony had actually partnered with Sega specifically. Um, but we were never told like what those games were, like what IP it was. Wait, Devil Shooter, you're saying MBG? I've seen your head. I saw your head like 6 to 7 years ago. If I could have told the future, I would take a screenshot. Why don't I remember that? But yeah, Figuratively Literal. This is going to be interesting to see because apparently Sony is going to get a little bit more, just a little bit more. Well, actually, I think we're seeing it right now, right? Like we're seeing with Lego Horizon Adventures, Sony's maybe getting a little bit more comfortable with licensing some of their IP out. And, when we talk about classic IP coming back, maybe you do got to wonder if maybe this is the direction that Sony wants to go and just kind of give some of these classic IPs to other teams out there, other publishers. Could be very interesting. Could be very interesting. Irfin, you're saying Jason's report is getting removed from the Gaming Leaks and Rumor subreddit. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't I don't fault people for thinking it was a scoop because yeah, I mean, oops. It seems like it could have been a scoop for sure. MBG Hatless, it used to be a profile. Did I? You're saying I made my profile picture of me without a hat one time? I wonder if that's true. I mean, I've changed my profile picture so many times over the years, like prior to like really establishing the brand here. It's possible. If only Devil Shooter knew. Well, yeah, one day I'll show you guys a picture of what I look like with hair. One day. We have Anonymous Boss here saying, Yo, MBG, you guys can chill. Sony has many IPs coming up. They are hiding all of it under their sleeve. Imagine they come out with another Uncharted for the PS5 Pro. Yeah, there have been rumors for a while that there's another Uncharted in the works. Not at Naughty Dog, by the way, like with another studio. And I'm really interested to see if that turns out to be true because I get the feeling that Sony absolutely wants to continue Uncharted. It's too big of a franchise, I think, for them to let go of. But listen, I'm not trying to make it seem doom and gloom. I'm not. I'm still very positive towards PlayStation, man. Like generally speaking, I'm just trying to be real about it in that like they're not perfect. Like they make mistakes and they're going to make mistakes. And I think people absolutely rag on Sony these days for like everything, and it gets kind of monotonous. And it's like it kind of goes back to the conversation I had yesterday, which I'm not going to repeat here, but just to summarize it, where it's like people act as if Sony hasn't delivered just a myriad of of PlayStation console exclusives from both their first party, second party, and even third party, right? Like exclusives throughout this entire generation. I just think that sometimes people are. I know I'm like the last person to throw this kind of terminology around, and I rarely ever use this terminology, but I do think that sometimes people are either ungrateful or entitled or both, where it's like it's very much like a what are you doing for me today type of attitude. It's like I get it, like I understand, like we're paying for this stuff. I'm not saying Sony's giving this stuff to us for free, absolutely not. And we do need to have a level of like you need to stay on your toes, like you have to keep providing and serving the audience, absolutely. But there's just this like next level of what comes off as entitlement where it's like, yeah, you gave us God of War Ragnarok. Yeah, you gave us Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah, you gave us GT7. Yeah, you gave us Returnal. Yeah, you gave us Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, you gave us Demon Souls Remake. Yeah, you gave us Spider-Man 2. Yeah, you gave us a shit ton of second-party games like Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin. Yeah, you did that. But what are you doing for me now? And it's like, I mean, they have Astrobot coming, and apparently that's amazing. It's like, yeah, but that's stupid. You know what I mean? Like that's the attitude that so many people on the internet have, where it's like, I don't know, is it just like cool to act like that? I don't know. But I that's the kind of stuff that I don't agree with at all. You know, I don't agree with that type of attitude and mentality, because it's like, if that's how you feel, you're not paying attention. Like, I just don't believe you. Like, I don't believe you're a PlayStation fan. I don't believe you've been following PlayStation. And I don't believe you care about PlayStation, if that's really how you feel. Because that to me sounds like a troll, you know? Or like you're a sheep that's following these trolls. However, if you're somebody who says, you know what, we've had a lot of really good stuff, or at the very least, a few things that have really interested me, but I'm really feeling eager to see some more stuff, some more of the bigger stuff, to know what's coming for the rest of the generation. That's totally, yeah, absolutely. That's 100% reasonable. And that's what we should be telling Sony. But I think you're sending legitimately the wrong message by trying to make it seem like, by telling Sony, like, you didn't do good this generation because you didn't release the games I wanted. You know what I mean? I don't like that, because it's like, all right, yeah, we can give some feedback where it's like, Sony, maybe you should make more of these types of games as well, or maybe you should consider having, dipping into some of your classic IP, stuff like that. That's fine. But I think it's just wild, where it's like, when we talk about a game like Spider-Man 2, one of the craziest things I've witnessed over the past like 7 months or so, or 8 months since that game launched, people talk like Spider-Man 2 is trash. And it's like, what? Like that to me is but that's the thing, is like, there's a lot of people that actually talk like that, where it's like, that game is trash. And it's like, whoa, listen, I'm not a Spider-Man 2 defender here. I'm not even the biggest Spider-Man fan at all. Like, I'm not. Like, I think Spider-Man's fine. But did you actually play that game? I mean, like, did you actually play it? Like, I understand you probably watched videos of people shitting on it, and you probably watched videos of people calling out all the woke stuff that's kind of scattered throughout certain sections. I know you did that, but did you play the game? And that's the thing that kind of gets me, is it's like, if you played the game, then there's no way you can say this is garbage or bad or terrible or any of those things. You just can't. Because if you think that type of gameplay is bad or garbage or mid or terrible, or even just mid, right? I think you're like the last person that Sony should be listening to, because that's not what that gameplay was. That's not what that game was, generally speaking. I do think that there are a couple of problems with Spider-Man 2. I don't think it's a perfect game. And I do think that it's pretty clear that Insomniac put some stuff in there where it's like, we are very leftist. It's like, okay, that's a little annoying, but you still made a good game. And that's what bothers me with this stuff, man, is it's like, these days when people talk about stuff, what gets so nauseating and so annoyingly repetitive is, if it's not exactly what I want it to be in every way, and if there's any hint of anything in here that might trigger me, then it's the worst thing ever. And that to me is like, how the hell are we supposed to have conversations about this if that's how it's going to be? Just purely black and white. That's not. And I just think that that's a lot of. I think that that's happening a lot. I mean, I'm just throwing Spider-Man 2 in here, but I think generally speaking, that's happening with like all things these days. And it's getting annoying, because it's like, what's the fun in just playing something and then just like, oh yeah, it's trash, or, oh yeah, it's the best thing ever. Like, neither of those things are interesting. At least not that interesting. Like, the conversations around those things are not interesting. Let's talk about how trash it is. Let's talk about how this is the greatest thing ever, and we'll just sit here and talk about that. Or we could actually just talk about all the aspects of it, both the good and the bad, the positive and the negative. And we can come to a reasonable conclusion. I just feel like people are not, just too many people on the internet these days that they want to chime in, and they are getting attention and they are gaining influence, but they're not willing to do those things. You know, they're not willing to do those things. And it's just very disappointing to see that. We have the Genius 200X saying, not surprised regarding Sony's ignorance. They're probably just keeping this tight due to leaks. I gave up predicting. I guess we will find out soon. Yeah, I very much am starting to feel that way as well. The Genius, where it's like, obviously, as long as I'm here streaming and talking about PlayStation, I'm going to naturally make predictions. I'm going to naturally, speculate for sure. But I just don't know that I have as much confidence in my predictions or speculation. Some things I'm more confident than others, but yeah, more generally speaking, I said previously expect anything from Sony, and I mean that. And I was right. That's actually one thing I was completely right about. Like, did any of you think that Sony was going to announce a game for Switch? I didn't think so. But I did know to expect anything. And so when that was announced, I was like, oh. I was like, okay, that's new. But I just remember, like, that's like the first thing that popped in my mind. It's like, remember you told yourself, this is a new era of Sony, expect anything. There you go. It's like, oh yeah. See? Expect anything, man. You're saying I think Insomniac wanted to do more with Spider-Man 2. That's evident from some of the Insomniac leaks. Yeah, I get that feeling too, Velocity. I do. And especially when you look at the leaks, it really did kind of give me the feeling that I think Spider-Man 2 may have actually had a little bit of development trouble along the way, where I don't think it was necessarily rushed as much as it was just, maybe they struggled with some of the decisions, maybe in the direction they wanted to take the story or something like that, or certain sequences that they weren't sure if they would have them ready in time for the game, or there were some Venom sequences that were found in that leak that were like, yo, why isn't this in the main game? This is sick. Maybe it was because they were like, well, we were thinking about doing a Venom game, maybe we'll save that. Something, I think something did happen, but I don't know. It's one of these things where like Insomniac isn't going to come out and be like, yeah, it's not really fully the game we wanted to make. We had to. Oh, really? You're saying Brian Intihar said in an interview they didn't have enough time? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. All right, well, I guess I was wrong. He straight up said it. If that's true. If that's true, I guess he did straight up just say it. Well, there we go. Maybe that's why Wolverine's going to come a little bit later. Maybe they're like, listen, we can't really keep up. We need a little bit more time. The director said Act 3 got torn to shreds. The director was not happy. Really? Wait, hold on. Wait, when did he reveal this? I totally missed that. This is the first I'm hearing of this. Yeah, we're gonna move on to that topic in just a moment, talking about what Shawn Layden had to say. I'm kind of funny. Okay. Yeah, I might look into this. I'm not sure because I never knew that. Yeah, a lot of Venom stuff did get cut. Like 90% of his lines. I think I wonder if that messed something up maybe. Like they were like we wanted to have much more Venom involvement, but then they were like, well, what if we just can give him his own standalone game and we can use some of this? That's just speculation, of course, but we also have Perfect Image here saying, MBG, you think Sony's trying to get kids? Yeah, they're going after the kids, bro. Yeah, I think it's obvious that this holiday season, Sony seems to be trying to appeal to a more broad audience, maybe even a younger audience with games like Astrobot, but especially Lego Horizon. I think that these are games for all ages. Like, I mean, I'm 30 years old and I'm hyped as hell for Astrobot, but I think that, yeah, this is not like Ghost of Tsushima or God of War The Last of Us. Like, a game like Astrobot is going to appeal potentially to everybody, especially kids as well. And yeah, I actually I will say, even though we're not getting like the big tentpole game drop this holiday, it is actually nice to see that this is a year where Sony's being much more diverse with the types of games that they're releasing and who they're appealing to. You know, I think people have been saying to Sony for a while now that it's like, bro, you need to make like some different type of games here, you know, not just the more cinematic or more mature games, and the big open world games. And I think that's exactly what we're getting here, which is, you know, good to see. Antonio, you're saying he said someone told him the game needed to come out and he took a minute to recollect his thoughts because he didn't want to lose his cool. It was not in the kind of funny interview, something else. Damn. We have Kyle here with another super chat, and he says, how about we do a versus member stream where we sit and list all exclusives to date that are on the platforms, Xbox versus PlayStation console exclusives? That could be interesting. I think what would make that really difficult, though, is, well, actually, no, I guess, yeah, no, I think the only thing that would make that difficult, because I was going to say we don't know enough. We know with Xbox, and I think Nintendo's going to have a direct, but I think it's tough because it's like we don't know what Nintendo's like Switch 2 games are going to be, but we don't know Sony's lineup. You know, I guess what I'm trying to say, Kyle, is if we were to do this now, it would be pretty lackluster all around, unless you're talking about looking. If you're not just talking about upcoming games. You're saying all the games that are on the platforms. Yeah, that could be interesting. Current. Oh, you're specifically saying current lineup, not future. I'll think about that. That could be pretty fun. Speaking of a member stream, I just want to put this reminder out here. We're sitting at 42 members on the day, or 41 members, excuse me. And we have today and tomorrow, we're striving to hit a goal of 300 total members. I'm going to give you guys an update on where we're at. If we hit the goal of 300 members by the end of this week, we're going to do like a special Friday stream where I'm going to do a members gameplay stream of Elden Ring. And we are now only 80 members away. So we are more than 2/3 of the way there. So we have the rest of this stream and tomorrow's stream. See if we can end up getting there. And that stream will be basically like a reward for you guys for hitting that goal. And, you know, this is something, if it works out well, we could continue to do week over week with new rewards, increasing rewards maybe. You know, this is just the beginning, so to speak, just testing the waters. But we started today's stream being 122 away. Now we're 80. So it's still a good chunk, but you guys are doing good. Let's see here. We also have Gamer Pro, a member for 8 months. He says maybe PlayStation will get some of the Xbox exclusives, but Sony really needs to, deliver games. I hope Xbox exclusives don't end up being like Redfall. And we have Gamer Pro coming in. Gamer Pro likes the sound of a members reward stream if we hit the goal. He drops a single membership gift. Yeah, just a reminder, you can drop single member gifts as well. You know, we get a lot of 5, 10, 20 bombs, which are incredible. But just keep in mind, you are able to drop single member gifts as well, and they definitely contribute. They definitely help. So Gamer Pro, thank you for that, buddy. And with your milestone chat, yeah, I agree with you. I don't want the fact that PlayStation might get some of Microsoft's games. I don't want that to make Sony feel like, well, we don't need to deliver as many games. I don't think that's how they're operating. I'm just saying, like, I think it alleviates some of the pressure, you know, where I don't think it's that Sony's like, well, we don't have to deliver as many games now. I think it's just, well, we can maybe take a little bit more time now. You know, like we can, there's less pressure. There's less of a crunch, so to speak. But I'm in agreement. It shouldn't make them, you know. You're saying you hope Xbox's exclusives don't end up being like Redfall. I don't think so. You know, some of the games we saw just generally looked like higher quality. We have Anonymous Boss here with a super chat saying, MBG, I won't say much, but there is a BioShock 4 in the works according to the Epic Games leak. Do you think there will ever be another SOCOM? To be honest, I think I've kind of given up on SOCOM at this point. At the beginning of this generation, I really was convinced that there was going to be another SOCOM, that there was another SOCOM in development. But no, man, I'm thinking at this point, I just don't think it's going to happen. Not to be so gloomy about it, but it would be quite a shocker if a new SOCOM was in development. Yeah, BioShock 4. I think that's been rumored for a while now. It's been rumored for some time. Ken Levine also confirmed BioShock 4 was in development on Sacred Symbols a few weeks ago. Interesting. Wonder if he was allowed to confirm that. Dark Horse with a super chat says, gotta say Xbox is kind of artificially keeping PlayStation afloat right now. Like they literally only have Astrobot for the end of the year. I mean, Dark Horse, I get where you're coming from, but no, I mean, no. I think that's a bit of a stretch to say it's keeping PlayStation afloat. I think Call of Duty, if you want to look at it as it's because Microsoft owns Call of Duty, okay, I guess, yeah, because like Call of Duty is gonna do work this holiday season. Like Call of Duty is gonna do massive work for PlayStation, but I don't know. I don't think a game like Black Ops 6 was ever not going to release, you know, on PlayStation. Reedman Weep says, MBG, Jason Schreier responded, and he said this isn't new news or anything that hasn't previously been reported. Okay, so he did confirm that. All right, so it is what we thought. All right. Yeah, I would imagine if it was some kind of news scoop or something, a much bigger deal would have been made out of it. Sony has acquired Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. It is the first major Hollywood studio to own a movie theater chain in 75 years. Well, that's random. Boss is looking really I just noticed a couple of you guys were commenting about Boss. I didn't realize he was this cute looking right now. All right, so sorry about that dead air for a moment there. We're going to move on to the next. I mean, clearly we did just have a bonus topic here, but we do have other topics to discuss. And the next topic is quite interesting because Shawn Layden takes some shots, seemingly, take some shots at Phil Spencer here. So we're going to go over that info. Guys, do me a big favor. Please hit the like button for me. We are sitting at 226 likes. I really very much appreciate that. Let's see if we can bump that up to 250. Did I see the new Dragon Age gameplay? I actually didn't. Does it look good? So I have a report here from Push Square. It says, in the aftermath of its unfathomable $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, the top brass at Microsoft has been eager to express its dislike of Sony's marketing alliance with the Call of Duty franchise. Speaking with IGN, boss Phil Spencer insisted he wants to give players a choice on how you play your games, and that his company won't do, quote, slimy platform things, end quote. While he never explicitly mentioned PlayStation, he made barbed comments at the beginning of the firm's Xbox showcase, stating it's been 10 years since Call of Duty has been in our show, and it's been even longer since Call of Duty players got the same game at the same time. A clear criticism of Sony's marketing deal with the series, which has historically featured platform advantages like additional modes and features. These comments attracted the attention of Shawn Layden, the former PlayStation executive who's held a number of positions across Sony's gaming empire. Responding to the quotes, he gave a viral GIF to express his feelings. And the GIF is of, I think, what is that, Will Arnett? He has, like, I guess, a drink in his mouth, or he has some kind of liquid in his mouth, and it explodes out of his mouth from laughter. And Shawn, if you've seen this response from Shawn Layden, like, he's straight up laughing at Phil Spencer, and laughing at his comments. And I think it's interesting that Shawn is being this candid. I think he can afford to be this candid because he's no longer part of Sony. But the article continues here saying Layden has since gone on to like a number of comments on social media, some suggesting Phil Spencer is being a hypocrite. Phil be talking out of his ass, one post said that Shawn Layden liked. So slimy, like bullying billion-dollar publishers to try and take more control of the industry, is another comment that Shawn Layden liked. So much hate. Layden, who left PlayStation in 2019. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this? I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. My thoughts on this are, yeah, Phil Spencer is a freaking hypocrite, man. Like, I just think, here's what I take away from this. What I take away from this is the reason why Shawn Layden is willing to respond to some of these, this specific quote from Phil Spencer with basically like he's laughing at, like he just like he finds it humorous that that this is what Phil Spencer's saying. I think it's for the same reason that I kind of laugh at some people on the internet where it's like, why do you think Microsoft is any different than Sony? Like, why? Like, do you think they're really doing this to be because they like you and they're trying to, they just care about your bottom line, and they care about your pockets, and they care about your bank account, and they care about whether or not they're saving you money? I just, to me, that's, I just always thought that kind of mentality is ridiculous. But to me, the biggest problem here with Phil Spencer's comments, like the article said at the beginning of the Xbox showcase, he says it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years. Clearly, he's insinuating I'm talking about PlayStation's deals, because that's all it's been for the past 10 years. But I think that's just the reason why that's so hypocritical and so disingenuous is, like, Phil, You are speaking on behalf of a company who started this during the Xbox 360 days with Call of Duty. You had Call of Duty first. You started these practices. Literally, your company, the one that you are speaking on behalf of. And this is what I hate about Phil Spencer, dude. Because he's such a like, you want to talk about slimy? You know what's slimy? Being like talking such bullshit like that. Hey man, you got Call of Duty. Flex it. You got Call of Duty. You're putting Call of Duty in the Game Pass. Flex that shit. But to sit here and take some subtle or maybe not so subtle shot at like, yeah, we're better than them. Like you could tell like Microsoft is salty, bro. They're salty that they got fucking whooped by a company like that's much smaller than them. And this is what it took. This is literally what it took for them to be able to do this type of flex, is they had to literally buy all of Call of Duty. Now, don't get me wrong. In the business world, that's a flex. No doubt about it. You know, Microsoft's saying, "Oh, that's cute. You're gonna pay for the rights for Call of Duty. We're gonna buy Call of Duty." Yeah, that's a business world flex. But I just think it's nonsensical that, you know, Phil is willing to say this in that way and just completely ignore the fact that like this literally started because of your company. Like your company did this first, starting with Modern Warfare 2 all the way up to Call of Duty Ghosts with the Xbox One, bro. You know, like that's all. I don't mind the flexes. Flex when you need to flex, but don't be so ridiculously hypocritical about it. You know, that's what I don't like. This is why people wonder why I have such an axe to grind with Phil Spencer at times. It's because of stuff like this, man. Like he just proves over and over again, like he'll just say whatever. He'll just say what he's just a talking head. And what bothers me the most about that is that people still listen. Like shouldn't it be proven by now that like this guy is he's just a suit that wears a t-shirt, you know, over the suit to make people think he's a cool gamer just like me. Like, no, dude. He works for Microsoft, for fuck's sake. He's part of the board of Microsoft. He doesn't give a shit. Exactly, Waylock. You're saying Phil's earning too much to care, unfortunately. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, he's laughing all the way to the bank, bro. Dark Horse, you're saying Shawn Layden advises a company that's financially backed by the Chinese Communist Party. Who is he? Yeah, I will say I'm quite disappointed in Shawn Layden's decision. Like he could have done a lot of different things in this industry, and I will say it is highly disappointing. What was it, Tencent he works for now? It's like, really, bro? Why? Why Tencent? Come on. Yeah, I heard about that, Lone Wolf Gamer. MBG, did you hear about IGN making the crowd artificially cheer during Phil's speech? Yes, I did. And it's like, look, if you're IGN or you're somebody who is part of that crowd, how are you not just totally embarrassed? You know? Like, it's just as cringe gets. You're saying, oh, yeah, they wanted free stuff. But still, dude, like, there was a section of that Phil Spencer interview. What really got me was when Phil gave an answer. He was asked by IGN's Ryan McCaffrey during that interview about the closure of Tango Gameworks. And he answered it, and he was pretty candid about it. You know, he was like, somebody's got to make these tough decisions. You know, I don't enjoy it, but it's got to happen. I was like, okay. You know, he gave like a, you know, the best answer I guess you could expect to get in that situation. But, you know, when the crowd cheered after that, I was like, what? But why are you guys cheering? They're talking about a studio, a beloved studio that just got closed down and people getting laid off. Why are you cheering? That was very weird to me. Like that was the point where I'm like, IGN should be embarrassed right now, dude. Like Ryan McCaffrey should have literally turned to that audience and said, "Please stop cheering." Somebody should have told these guys to stop cheering. But that's the stupidity of it. You come out there, you tell people we want you to cheer as loud as you can, keep the hype up, and you'll get some free stuff. And before you know it, you're witnessing a situation where you have a crowd of people cheering that a studio just got shut down, and that a $3 trillion company shut down a small studio that made a great game and laid a bunch of people off. Yeah, that's what you get from that. Again, man, the world is ass backwards and upside down, bro. You guys, yeah, listen, we're 8 members away, by the way. You guys want to get some reps before the end of the stream? Today, we're 8 members away. We have Mrs. MBG. She's been asking me lately. So you still getting those reps? I'm like, well, I'm trying. When we can do it. No, Mrs. MBG's been telling me a little bit. She's like, I think you're getting a little skinnier. You're maybe losing a little bit of weight. And I think I have been. I haven't been working out as much. And it's crazy because I feel like I lose weight so quick, man. It's actually disappointing sometimes. Like I feel like I can train for like weeks and weeks and put on a little bit of weight, gain a little bit of muscle, and then just like boom, you go like 1 week, maybe 2 weeks not lifting that much. Still, I mean, I don't know, maybe I've been eating less. Maybe the appetite's not as strong, but it's just crazy how quickly I'm kind of glad in a way, because it's like I'd rather be able to lose weight quickly than risk being overweight, but like not risk being overweight, but getting overweight too easily and having trouble. Man, boss is very tired. I'm getting old, yeah. I am getting old. We have Cypherpunk here. He says, I don't think Microsoft even care about Sony, in my opinion. No, they definitely do. Microsoft, listen, I think it's easy to say that Microsoft doesn't care about Sony, but everything they're doing seems to revolve around Sony. I'm going to be honest with you, man, because, like, I don't think I think you're right, like, Microsoft, bigger picture, like Satya Nadella, I don't think Satya Nadella gives a single shit about Sony, dude. I'll be honest. I don't think Satya Nadella or Amy Hood, I don't think they care at all. Because they're running a $3 trillion business, bro. Like, Sony is nothing to them. But Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg and Matt Booty and Sarah Bond, they absolutely care because they're involved in this shit. Like, they know the score, bro. Especially Phil. And this is what, believe it or not, like, Phil caring about PlayStation and caring about everything that has happened for the past 10 or 12 years. Well, actually, Phil's been here the whole time. The fact that he cares is why Satya Nadella, in my opinion, has not been able to. Because remember what Satya said. I have no love for that world. I don't care about. I don't care about exclusives. If Satya had it his way, dude, there would be probably no console. There would be, their games literally would, all those games that got announced would be on PlayStation 5 and Switch if possible. And I think Phil and his team, they're the ones that kind of act as the buffer and the intermediary where it's like, okay, yeah, I understand, but things are done a little bit differently here. And I think a lot of that is driven by, people forget this about Phil Spencer. You want to talk about Phil Spencer quotes? And look, I get it. People say shit all the time. People can quote me from years ago and I'd be like, oh, wow, I said that. I get it. But that's the thing. Phil takes a leadership position. He's the head of Xbox. People are going to hold on to what he says. People forget that there was an interview, and this was probably in like 2016 or 17 or something. But I remember he said something along the lines of like, yeah, I want to win. Like when talking about the console race, when talking about, the competition of console, he straight up said like, yes, of course I want to win. That's what we're trying to do. And it's such a simple quote and maybe an obvious, but I just think it, that's where people, I try to tell people, like, you think Phil doesn't want to, like, take Sony out? Like, Satya probably doesn't because he doesn't care about Sony. But you think Phil doesn't have that axe to grind, where it's like, bro, Phil had to sit there and watch Sony straight up curb stomp the Xbox One and basically curb stomp that entire team. And one of the things that Phil talked about extensively when he took over as the head of Xbox is he was saying that, like, the morale of the team was destroyed. Like, people were depressed. Like, Sony took Xbox out so badly, and Xbox took themselves out so badly, Don Matrick, that people were like, why am I even here, bro? It's over. And that's what Phil had to walk into and clean up. So yeah, he has a fucking chip on his shoulder, dude. That's why I'm not surprised that when Phil has an opportunity to take a shot at Sony for that exclusivity shit, because that's the thing. Those exclusivity deals that Sony had for the past 10 years for Call of Duty absolutely hurt Microsoft. Now, of course, it's Microsoft's fault because they started it, but yeah, Phil's not, of course he's going to take those shots. And that's why I'm just saying that, like, they definitely care, man. Like, believe me, they do. And believe me, Phil is in pain at the idea of possibly letting Halo have to go, if that were to happen. Like, these conversations, there's clearly some tug of war going on internally at Microsoft. And believe me when I tell you, Phil does not want to see Halo on PlayStation. No chance. There are people inside of Microsoft that would like to see Halo on PlayStation. Phil's not one of them. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I get it. Like, yeah, I totally understand why anybody at Microsoft would not want to see Halo on PlayStation. I get that. But Microsoft is, they're much more than just Xbox. They're much more than just Halo. Microsoft Gaming is now it is like one of the most important parts of Microsoft as a whole. So doing things the way that they were once done is just not, across the whole division is just not a possibility anymore. Yeah, that's another great point. Why are they pretending Microsoft couldn't have offered more money for exclusivity? Great point. Didn't even think about that one myself. The Genius 200X says he's no OG Cerny. That's for damn sure. LOL. Yeah, I do. I wonder what, like, a PlayStation being led by Mark Cerny would look like. It could be the best and worst thing ever. Suddenly everything's knack. The next PlayStation is shaped like knack. Knack 3 would happen, that's for sure. ACN Panda 510X says they started with Titanfall off PlayStation. Okay. Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, exactly. Even I forgot about that. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And you know who was the head of first party at that time, by the way? Here's another one for you. You know who the head of Xbox's first party studios and their, their games division was before he became it was Phil Spencer. Yep. That was Phil. You got to love it, man. You got to love it. This is why it's just like it makes me cringe so badly when I see Phil trying to come off as the good guy in gaming, when it's like, bro, look, I don't have a problem. Like, it's not that serious. Like, you're just a person. But it's like, come on, dude. I know, I get it. You're just falling in line and you got to kind of adopt the mantra, and go with the marketing. But it's like, Phil's not some kind of. Phil's been here for a while. He's been here for the console wars. He knows the score. Phil knows the score, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It'd be like if I like suddenly, if I was like working at Microsoft for 30 plus years, like my entire career, and I saw everything starting with the PS1 to the original Xbox and everything that occurred, like, yeah, I wouldn't be able, it would be difficult for me, or at least inside, I would think like, man, like, I can't believe we're just like, fuck it, you know? I would still feel like we got to get these fuckers. Look at what they did to us. What did they do to us? Cypherpunk, you're saying no way Phil or any executive at Microsoft or Sony cares as much about the stuff as all of us. They all go home to their mansions. Yeah, but think about it, bro. Like, I think you're right. And I agree that they probably don't care as much because, like, I mean, yeah, it gets very toxic. And it's like, dude, you got to operate at a high level, you know, as an executive. You got a lot of responsibility. And yeah, you make a good living. So I agree. They probably don't care as much. But I'm telling you, at least with Phil, maybe Herman as well, like, they probably do see this shit, dude. Like, more than you would think. Like, they use phones too. Like, they're probably somewhat not addicted, but they, you know, they see this shit. And it's interesting to me, you know, it's interesting to me because these are people at the end of the day. And I do think that these people, you know, there is a level of care that has to go into it. Like, I know, like, when I think of like Herman Holst and Phil Spencer, like, I think it's like easy to look at them as like they're just soulless corporate executives, and it's like, all right, I get it, but I I have to imagine like there has to be some level, just some level. Like, I get it, like, you're making good money, and eventually when you make enough money, from what I've been told, when you make enough money consistently and you get kind of rich, you know, um, it becomes less important, generally speaking. You know, like, you get very comfortable. So your attention starts to get consumed by other things because you're not worried about money anymore because money's not a problem. I would imagine that, like, when you're working at these companies and you're part of one of the biggest brands in the world, and money's not a problem anymore. It doesn't mean your job's totally secure because, I mean, you know, one fucking huge screw up and maybe you're done. But I just imagine it has to play some level of importance. I'm not talking about bickering on the internet, by the way, but just like, listen, if you watch this interview um, with Phil Spencer, Ryan McCaffrey starts out the interview by basically, you know, buttering Phil up, and like, that was the best showcase maybe we've ever seen. And I just got to know, like, how are you feeling right now? What do you think about that showcase? And Ryan McCaffrey specifically says to him, like, he tries to take the veil down, which I actually appreciate this because it's like, yeah, let's get real here for a moment. But he kind of told Phil, he was like, you know, don't hold back. Don't be humble about it. And, you know, you could just see on Phil Spencer's face, like, he gets that kind of shit-eating grin. Like, Phil knows, bro. You know, like, come on. Phil knows he just fucking dropped a nuke, essentially, with this showcase. He knows it. He knows it. Now, he didn't say that, but it's like, just look at the smile on his face, bro. Like, look at the way people are acting. He knows. And I'm just saying that, you know, we can't forget that until AI takes over, there are still people running the ship. And people have egos, and people associate their identities with certain things, especially the longer, you know, you have a career at a company for 30 plus years. A part of your identity is absolutely intrinsically linked to that, no matter what. Like, no matter what you say, it's such an integral part of your life, such a big part of your life. And I'm trying to say that, like, the shit runs deeper than I think people realize when you're talking about when you're talking about the competitive aspect. And that's why it is easy, I think, based off of just looking at it on a surface level, to assume, oh, I don't think these companies care about each other. I don't think they really care. And it's like, they do. Like, believe me, they do. They absolutely do. And yeah, that's what I think anyway. doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing. I think sometimes that's a good thing. You know, the fact that they care so much is what leads to innovation and one-upping each other and being like, listen, they're doing that, we got to do this, and this is going to be better. Like that's the nature of competition. There cannot be competition if nobody cares. You know what I mean? I guess that's ultimately what I'm trying to say here. Competition cannot exist if nobody cares. If everybody's too busy having a good time and high-fiving each other, then there is no actual competition. There can be healthy competition where you're shaking each other's hands, you know, and just paying your respect when you need to, but yeah, I don't know. All right. Zanarkand Blitzer with a super chat says, speaking of game preservation, Nintendo is erasing its history. The war against ROMs. MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer. I didn't copy his name, by the way. I didn't know about MVG when I made the name MVG. Just want to put that out there. Bad guy Nintendo at it again? Question mark. MVG, penny for your thoughts. I'll be honest with you. I don't follow this closely enough to be able to determine if like Nintendo's the bad guy here. But something I do know on a more general scale is there does seem to be the question of game preservation. It's coming up more and more these days because I think we're kind of at that point with the games industry where, you know, the games industry has matured enough and it's been around long enough that people are starting to really wonder, like, what's going to happen to a lot of these games that came out in like the 80s and the 90s and stuff, that it's just, yeah, it's not necessarily that people are itching to play these games, but just from a pure preservation standpoint, like what are we going to do here? And yeah, I mean, when it comes to this, I would have to look deeper into it, Zanarkand. The war against ROMs. So you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but my basic understanding is that certain gamers, certain people are creating these ROMs, and these ROMs are essentially allowing these games to be preserved in an easily accessible way. And Nintendo's essentially like, yeah, no, we're going to kill that. Like, is my understanding of that correct, or am I missing something vital? Is that the gist of it? You're saying that is the gist of it, Laurent? And I guess the reason why Nintendo is doing this is because, well, I mean, you're saying bad guy Nintendo. Why would Nintendo do it? Well, Nintendo's notorious, right? Like, they're pretty notorious for, like, shutting. Like, you don't do anything with our shit. Ever. We will shut you down, you know? Like, even if it's not making any money, even if it's not hurting anyone or anything, Nintendo's like, absolutely not. But I think the problem is Nintendo, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, the problem is Nintendo is not providing their own solution, or at least a solution that's nearly as friendly and simple, or even competent, maybe? Is that also part of the problem? I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Nintendo killed off Yuzu and Citra. Yeah, I don't even know what they are. I think I've seen people talking about that, but I'm not sure what those are. I guess they're like emulators. Like, Nintendo's view of it is like, we're not going to let you have this for free because we'll do it eventually and we'll charge you for it. They're PC emulators? Okay. I did hear I did see something a little while ago where one of the creators of this emulator, I did see people claiming that they like created a Patreon and they were kind of starting to monetize certain aspects of it or something, or make some kind of money off of it, and that some people were speculating that like that's what led to the swift action and downfall. I don't know if there's truth to that or not. That I don't know. It's just kind of some of the stuff I see in passing. That's how they got Yuzu. Okay. You like Nintendo, but killing off your childhood games, it just makes me more mad. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a messy situation because on one hand, it's hard for me to like look at Nintendo and be like, you can't do that. But it's like, no, like literally we can. Like this is our shit. We can do what it would be like somebody telling me what I can or can't do with my own shit. You know? So I get that. But on the other hand, it's like, but like, don't you care about the bigger picture here of like game preservation and the fact that like your company is so like it's so ingrained with the industry and there's such a rich history. It's like okay, going after like some if it's true that Nintendo went after one of these things because somebody was starting to make a profit off of it, I can get that. I understand that. Like I can understand why they would do that. But I don't know, man. Like if there are people that are just doing this out of pure passion and out of pure like nostalgia and like they're just basically doing great work for free just because they want to save these games and preserve them and make it easy for people to access them. And Nintendo's not necessarily going to do it themselves. I mean, I know it maybe goes against the grain business wise, but I think that's, you know, I don't know, like the thing that gets me about it is like if you're not if Nintendo was like we're shutting this down because we're doing it ourselves and it needs to be an integral part of our business, fine. Like okay, I get it. Like you need to make some money off of it. But if you're not doing that, then and it's just sitting there doing nothing but collecting dust, I yeah, that kind of sucks, you know? I could see how that's just extremely disappointing. Okay, that's pretty intense. Gavin, you're saying Chinese sites get you like 60,000 games on a stick for like $50? Holy shit. Okay. Stuff like that I could maybe see if I was Nintendo. I'd be like, "Hold on now." That's pretty egregious. Cypherpunk says pirating is fine if you're passionate, LOL. Oh, and I almost missed Waylark's super chat as well. He says, could care less about Phil Spencer. Why have him rent free in the stream, bro? Yeah, I know. Well, the only reason we were talking about Phil Spencer was because Shawn Layden basically replied to a comment that Phil recently made. And I just thought that was it was interesting because Shawn clearly does not agree with Phil and thinks and is basically laughing at him. Interesting to think that there was a time where at the Game Awards, Phil, Spencer, I think it was Reggie, and Shawn Layden were all standing on stage together, and it was like peace for a moment. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know, man. When it comes to Nintendo, everything I learned about Nintendo is kind of in passing. And I don't have much of an opinion on Nintendo, truthfully, because I just don't really engage with them, like their brand or their product. And maybe that'll change with the Switch too. Maybe, I don't know. And if it does, maybe I will form a much more solidified opinion that's not so apathetic. I wanted to go over this with you guys really quickly. How many of you are looking forward to Elden Ring's Shadow of the Erdtree DLC? Report here from Push Square. While the hype for Elden Ring's incredibly vast expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree, is fast approaching a fever pitch, the vast majority of players will be unable to enter the eagerly anticipated DLC. One of the base game's tougher boss encounters, Mohg, Lord of Blood, must be defeated to access the Shadowlands, which trophy and Steam achievement data suggest not many have managed to do. The situation is getting so dire that even Elden Ring publisher Bandai Namco has put out a PSA reminding players that they're going to need to put in some work to see that what fresh hell From Software has dreamed up this time. Streamer Cough Carnage or Co Carnage, I don't know if I'm saying their name correctly, highlighted the situation on Steam where just 37.8% out of a potential 11 million players on the platform alone of Tarnished have managed to defeat Moog. Is it Moog or Mog? I feel like saying Moog. The situation looks slightly better on PlayStation trackers like PSN profiles, but that does not give the whole picture. Where it says it's at about 54%, there's no way. PSN profiles, I'm pretty sure you have to have a profile on there. There's no way it's at 54% for all of PlayStation. But it says, however, as the service is opt-in, yeah, it's not necessarily reliable. I think on Xbox, it's like the percentage is even lower. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw this in here because I think it's pretty funny. Like, I saw some people basically saying that From Software is messing up here. That From Software is potentially losing out on a lot of people purchasing the DLC because they haven't defeated this boss, or this boss is too tough, or whatever. I will say, like, this boss is pretty tough. But you beat him with the wall glitch when it first dropped, no regrets. So let me ask you guys something, because I've been following the Elden Ring DLC somewhat, but there's something I'm a little confused about. And hopefully somebody here in the chat can help me out. Somebody told me, and based off of like what little I've read about it, there's like a new leveling system that is only in the DLC. However, this new type of leveling system is optional. Where if you're like level 200, you don't have to use this new leveling system. You can just continue to level up the same way and just, get the stat point or get the runes and put them in your stat points and continue to go beyond level 200. But this new leveling system, essentially, people were saying it kind of makes it more like Sekiro, where it's like you're not like putting it into stats, but you're just kind of leveling up your actual like attack power and stuff like that. But just to confirm, I'm trying to confirm, like, it's optional though, right? Like you're not forced to use. It's like an opt-in system essentially. Because yeah, I know a lot of people are really high level. Like, I'm grinding right now. Like, I'm just totally grinding to try to get to like level 200. I think I'm like level 170. Because I don't want to be like OP, like completely OP. I don't want to go that crazy, but I don't want to feel like I'm underpowered. I don't want to go in and feel like I'm going to get fucking smashed, over and over again. Chicken farm I think that's what I'm doing. Yeah. With all those little gray dudes sitting on the ground. Yeah, dude, I've slaughtered them over and over and over again. It's like I just put on some music, and just go to town. Waylark, you're saying people just need to get good. Elden Ring is not for casuals. I do agree. It's so crazy to say that Elden Ring is not for casuals, but it's true. It's sold 20. They just announced today they sold 25 million copies, and I'm like, holy shit, those are some casual sales numbers, man. Those are absolutely some casual sales numbers. You do know that your XP doesn't matter in the DLC, right? See, that's what I'm trying. Can somebody help me with this here? I was under the impression that it does. It's optional. Like. Oh, now I'm sweating. I don't want to find out all my grinding was pointless, bro. That's what I'm telling you. I don't want to find out all my grinding was pointless. Like, when I go into the DLC, I don't want to feel like I'm starting at level 1 again. I might have to look into this. Optic Gamer saying feed the beast. Bro, you want me to feed the beast? We get eight more members or member gifts. We'll feed the beast again, bro. We got to keep that train going. You're saying Elden Ring is the easiest Soulsborne there is. It absolutely is for casuals. Dude, I need to know if I'm playing this game wrong. I see people say that, and I'm like, I don't agree. Like, there are aspects of the game that are easier, but I don't know, man. Like, when you start getting to the end game, I'm like, this shit ain't easy. And I beat Bloodborne. Bloodborne's pretty tough. I probably am playing it wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if I was playing it wrong. I could probably be so much more powerful than I am, but because I can't get away from the fact that I want to be powerful with a sword. Like, I just want to kill everything with a sword. That probably makes the game so much harder for me. It's like, bro, you could use some of those incantations, you know. It's like, nah, I think I'll just go in swinging. It's like, okay. Timing is everything. I don't mean to deter you, but I do think the DLC will be a lot harder than the main game. I think the DLC will include the hardest boss in Souls history. Oh my god. I don't want to hear that, man. I'm like level 170 right now. Sony, yeah, Dark Demon Media, you're saying Sony just bought the Alamo Draft House Theater, mainly in Texas, which I have one behind my house, and it was a huge hit to the community here in Dallas because of the news of it closing last week. Yeah, somebody else had told me that Sony did that. It's pretty random. If I can beat Elden Ring, anybody can. You just have to put in the work. Yeah, I may listen if I get desperate enough, you know, when playing the DLC, where it's like, okay, I can't beat this boss in this way. I might have to try to like respec and do like a sorcery build of some kind or something, a magic build, because I mean I've a lot of people I've seen that really kind of cut through the game, and some of these bosses they're using a lot of spells, and I'm not using I'm not using spells, bro. I got a shield, I got armor, and I got a big ass ultra great sword. I got all my stats and strength, endurance, vigor, and that's it. And I just go in and I'm like, I hope I can block precise, you know, good enough. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I still don't feel powerful, bro. Like I must have done something very wrong. Like I'm level 170 and I still don't feel powerful. I don't. Like I feel like relatively strong. Like I can survive a lot of hits, but I just don't. A blood build, yeah. We'll see what I can do. By the way, guys, we still have over 340 people here hanging out, which is great to see. Hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. I have another report here from Push Square. Just going to go through these last two topics pretty quickly. I meant to get to them earlier, but I got sidetracked, as that usually is the case. Sony has pushed out updates for several of its classic PS Plus premium releases, adding platinums to all of them. While many of its emulated first-party PS1 and PSP games have launched with trophies, third parties have generally been allowed to forego the feature. But now the likes of Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, Toy Story 3 Alone in the Dark The New Nightmare, and Oddworld Abe's Exodus have platinum trophies to unlock. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw this out here because it seems like Sony is trying to sweeten the deal a little bit here for people who are playing classics, where they're starting to retroactively add platinum trophies to some of these games. So if you are a trophy hunter, maybe this is something that you care about. I also just want to quickly throw in here that there's a new Spider-Man 2 update coming, I think on June 18th. Yeah, it says a brand new free update for Marvel Spider-Man 2 is upon us, and it's bringing 8 new suits to Marvel's Spider-Man 2, including some new designs and returning favorites from previous games. The update is dropping on June 18th and also addresses some community feedback and adds stability improvements to the game. So you're going to have to go to the PlayStation blog to check out all the new suits. There's 8 of them. Some of them look okay. I don't know. I don't really care that much. Like, stuff like this doesn't make me be like, oh, I want to go back and play Spider-Man 2 now. But people are now wondering, like, when are we going to get Spider-Man 2 DLC? Because it feels like it's taken a lot longer this time. I think a lot of people were kind of expecting to hear about some kind of Spider-Man 2 DLC by this point, but we haven't. So I guess we'll just remain patient and find out. What the hell? All right. Sorry, I'm very distracted by I'm just very distracted. There's this clip of Dr. Disrespect. It's funny because we're talking about Elden Ring. It just popped up of him beating Melania. He says, people told me to start preparing for the Elden Ring DLC now, and that it was going to take days to beat the game. I beat Melania in 5 minutes.
This right here? See ya.
Damn, dude. Okay. Well, I guess he. Is he really that good? He just mastered the game, bro. Come on. This is why I don't want to. I don't want to touch Elden Ring. I'm just kidding. That's funny. All right. We finished all of the topics for today. Let me just make sure there isn't. All right. Yeah. So we do have another stream we're going to do tomorrow. Another Press X podcast. It'll be the last one for this week. So here's what we're gonna do. I'll get, last call for memberships, guys. Okay, last call for membership gifts, last call for super chats. I'm gonna chat here with you guys for maybe another 5 minutes, 10 minutes, give or take, and we'll bring this episode to a close. And so we are, so we're about, I think at this point, we're 79 members away from hitting the goal. We are 8 away from hitting a second goal. So we'll see if we can do that tomorrow. I don't know. You guys are going to have to try to show up tomorrow because, we're going to, I'm trying to see if we can hit this goal so we can do an Elden Ring stream by the end of the week. Friday Elden Ring stream. So we're 79 away. See if we can end up hitting it or not. I'm going over to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, though. Okay. Yeah, that Jason Schreier report was removed. Elden Ring has sold 25 million. Okay. Elden Ring creator Hidetaka Miyazaki said that using guides to beat From Software titles is a perfectly valid playstyle, but still would like to cater to people wanting a blind experience. There's room for improvement. Yeah, I had to look some shit up. Certainly, with every From Software game, I've had to look shit up. Not even gonna pretend. You're level 315. Excuse me. How do you, so question, for those of you who are like level 300 or 250 or so, how do you get to that high of a level? Because I'm at like level 170 and I feel like I'm getting tired of grinding. Like it's very monotonous. Where it's like I have to get over like 210,000 runes to level up one time. Yeah, like level 405, like grinding that intensely. God damn. Yeah, I don't know. You must be doing something differently than me and grinding much more efficiently. Am I using waves of gold to clear the field? Takes like 15 seconds. No. No. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Again, I'm just a guy that goes around and hits things. Is that what I'm screwing up? Samuel Mathis says, MEG's house must smell like freshly baked chicken pot pie all the time. Please confirm. Yes, Samuel, I can confirm. It smells like freshly baked chicken pot pie the whole time. Certainly. Certainly. You know what is funny, though, about this house I'm in is this room specifically that I'm in. It's always been like this. This is the room where all of the smell goes to. Where, like, if Mrs. MEG is cooking in the kitchen, there are rooms much closer to the kitchen, um, where you would think the smell would be more prominent there, but no, it all comes to this room for some reason. I don't know why. Navager says with a dash of mold, of course. Of course. Man, I am hungry though. I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty hungry right now. Waves of Gold is the weapon art from the sword you can make after beating the final boss. Okay. I'm gonna look into that, Spine. Yeah. I didn't know about that. If it's that powerful, it just takes them all out at once. Holy shit. Yeah, that sounds like a super efficient way to get runes. Because the way I'm doing it is I'm manually going up to each enemy and just hitting them one time. You know, kill, 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 kill. But it takes a good minute and a half or so. Or sometimes longer, because I still have to worry. There are like those 4 enemies that still attack you. Yeah, that's where I am. The area in Mogwin Palace. That's where I am. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is the most viewed Call of Duty of all time. That's crazy. That's actually wild, bro. Of all time? Those are some impressive numbers, man. I'm not gonna lie. I expected Black Ops 6 to get a lot of attention, but of all time, sounds like Treyarch is about to bring Call of Duty back. Is it true that next year's Call of Duty is going to be a sequel to Black Ops 2? I saw some rumor that said that. Yeah, there's going to be like this game is obviously set in like the 90s, but next year's game is going to be an actual direct sequel to Black Ops 2 set in the future. If that's true, man, Call of Duty seems like it's going to go on a streak. Too late. Pavlov is the next level of FPS. Haven't played it. MBG Jason Schreier responded and said there wasn't any new news in there, and basically he was just talking about what Hiroki said, but he wanted to give context. Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured, man. That's what I figured. Check something here. All right. Yeah, people have recommended Pavlov to me, but I never played it. Silence by MBG, yeah. All right, so this is where we'll call it. I think this is where we're going to wrap it up for this episode of Press X Podcast. I'm going to just take a moment to thank everybody for all of the support that you showed the channel today, that you showed me, that you showed the community. We are sitting at 42 members on the day. Thank you guys so much for that. And for everybody who dropped any super chats, I really very much appreciate it, or any direct tip donations as well. As I will continue to say, as long as it's true, you guys are the sponsors of the channel. You guys are what make this possible. So shout out to this community, and shout out to you guys for, again, your continued support. I also want to make sure I give a big shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the streams. If you see him in the comments, show him some love, give him some thanks. I know he really appreciates it. And we will have another stream, another episode of Press X Podcast tomorrow here, same time, same place. And we'll see if we can hit that goal or not, the end of the week goal, and finish off this week strong with a big members stream. So that does it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hit that like button on your way out, and I will catch you guys in the next one. So until next time, guys, take care.